And ready to be all messed up again this August.
It is a problem for Port Melbourne with Allender out, hearing that discussion with Ted and Rob, because Allender was so mobile. He could play in the ruck and then they could swing him into centre half forward if they required.
Yes, well, we saw the evidence of that in last year's grand final, didn't we, Phil, when he was off the ground for a while and they swung him back on, and he gave them the mobility that they needed, along with, on that occasion, Buster Harlan.
Well, for Port Melbourne supporters, have you seen him play in South Melbourne's side?
No, I haven't, but our round-the-ground commentators at 3AW have told me a little bit about his two games, and they felt that he lacked pace, and I've subscribed to that too, Phil. I think that he lacks pace for the helter-skelter of league football at the moment, but given time, and if he can quicken up over the summer months, I think he's a distinct prospect. But it's a big change, as you know. Yeah. It's a big, quite a transition from one standard to the other. Speaking of the boys being unable to get into the Dandenong room, I had an interesting discussion with Mick Irwin this morning, the VFA coach, on when a coach should actually address the players. And Mick's got decided views on it, and he says he doesn't believe in pounding and pounding and pounding the gospel of football into a player's ears just X minutes before he runs out onto the ground.
Well, if they don't know before they run out on the ground, they never will.
Well, Mick adopts the theory, and there's no secret about it. He adopts it that he talks to them up to a certain period of time, say 25 minutes before the game starts, then allows them to meditate, as it were, on what he's told them, and when they go out onto the ground, and you can recall it, they group together and have their final instruction amongst themselves.
Right, let's take this break and then we'll be back to give you details on the ladder and matches being played today.
This is Goodyear's new NCT steel. A new type of steel radial that Goodyear claim offers more grip than any comparable tyre. Now that's a pretty strong claim, but wet grip tests like this one proves their point. These pictures taken from beneath the road are pretty convincing proof. These leading Australian and European steel radials, quite possibly the ones on your car, lost this much grip in the wet at 100 kilometres per hour. This print shows NCT steel's full width grip at the same speed.
More grip, more driver control. NCT steel, only from Goodyear.
For grip, I can't think of a better steel radial.
There are many ways of reducing the chances of blowing your licence when you've been drinking. Here's a few of them.
Beware of the dreaded group pressure if you're indulging in the occasional ale. If you want another drink, it's up to you, but you've got to make the decision.
If we have to drive, what do we do?
Have one or two. So should you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Don't blow your licence or let a friend blow his. Turn off before .05.
Chicken spot is a spot on spot, oh, spot on. Chicken spot on. The chicken spot is a spot on spot, oh, spot on. Chicken spot on. Take me to the chicken spot is a spot on spot, oh, spot on. Chicken spot on, spot on.
This is the Pivot Disposable from Wilkinson Sword. Pivot is the first razor to give you all the convenience and speed of a disposable, plus a really smooth, close shave from this twin-blade pivoting head. It's so easy and comfortable, you can almost get to enjoy shaving. Try Pivot Disposable the first chance you get. It won't disappoint you. Just like I won't disappoint my fans.
Pivot Disposable, only from Wilkinson Sword. Pivot, set to change the face of Australia.
Right, back here at Port Melbourne, there are some of the stalwarts who have probably followed the Boroughs for years and years down here. There's no doubt about it. Port Melbourne definitely have a big following, and this crowd will build up considerably by the time the match starts. It shouldn't be very long before the umpires come out, but speaking about that, we have the Dandenong side coming out on the ground already, led by their captain and coach, Ray Biffin. The boos from some of the Port Melbourne supporters down here. But the umpires are a little bit late probably in coming out, but we'll keep a camera out for them. and we should pick them up fairly soon. But right now, let's have a look at the First Division ladder as it stands at the present time, and there's Port Melbourne on top with only 1 defeat, and Sandringham doing an excellent job this year up in second position, and then we have Preston just out by 1 game. Preston, the boom team really this year, and failed last week against Frankston. Nice to see a Bayside team, 2 of them up there in the 4. Frankston in 4th position after their good win against Preston last week, and then looking down the line to Caulfield, down 1 game behind Geelong West. In the second division, the situation is that Camberwell are on top by 1 clear game, with Sunshine yet to win a game. And look at that very, very poor percentage of Sunshine, brought about with that big defeat early in the season by Waverley. And now we have the umpires coming out on the ground for today. The field umpires, Murray Stab, who's been 11 years with the VFA, and Brian Oakley 9 years. And the A&A umpires, boundary umpires, Mike Stock, 16 years with the VFA, Frank Donnelly 4. Goal umpires, Willie Warman, 7 years with the VFA, and Bruce Bartlett 6. The emergency umpire is Mike Kennedy, 3 years, and the umpires board representative is former VFA umpire Noel Nobby O'Brien. Now Ted Henrys is back up with us, and Ted, let's have a look at the teams as selected on Thursday night. First of all, the home team in Port Melbourne.
Well, yes, Phil, there is one change in the Port Melbourne team. Paul Goss, unfortunately, has an injured thumb and cannot take his place in the side today. So coming in off the interchange bench will be Kavanagh. He'll be wearing Guernsey number 40. And in his place on the interchange bench will be Frank Johnson, number 28. Of course, Frank Johnson, the son of the former Port Melbourne champion and VFA Liston Trophy winner, also of the same name, Frank Johnson.
And then we have the Dandenong side as Ray Biffin walks across the ground. Just checking with some of his teammates, and there it is.
Yes, Phil, well, from the Dandenong camp, they say there's no changes in the side, and the team will line up there as selected. And I'll be looking forward to see the battle today between Ray Biffin and Fred Cook. It should be a beauty because both very experienced players. That half-back line of Dandenong's doesn't greatly impress me when you see the fellow named Wallace, who was a good footballer, Phil, but in my opinion, he's a ruck rover type of player, but they got him selected at centre half-back. Whether he'll play there or not is yet to be seen. But otherwise, it doesn't look a bad side, and good to see Lou Wright playing with Dandenong now. He was with the seconds earlier in the year, but now he's found his place in the Dandenong side. The senior side, no doubt, will be alternating the ruck with Dean Ross.
Other matches being played in and around the Melbourne area today. Coburg at home to Brunswick, Paran at home to Preston, and Geelong at home to Frankston, as the Port Melbourne side come out onto the ground, and today they were led out by Big Vic Annanson. In the second division game, Mordialloc at home to Werribee, Box Hill at home to Yarraville. Then we have Williamstown playing Waverley and Sunshine playing Camberwell. Weather, well, it is overcast, of course, and pretty gusty at the present time, with the cloud remaining fairly high. The official weather forecast, cool and cloudy, rain clearing, gusty north to northwest winds, and the current temperature, not too bad, it's 17 degrees. Well, while the teams are warming up, we'll take this break and then be back for the toss.
You need your help, Riley.
I won't do it.
Next on The Restless Years.
I'm tied up in this really big court case, and this lawyer's been heavying me trying to be a witness, but I can't.
Why is Bryony lying, and how will Tim react?
Bernie's not
And
a
you
no-hoper.
defied me. Now, come on, we're going home.
Mrs. Williams.
Sarah's friendship with Bernie leads to a showdown.
It's time some peace and quiet returned to the Williams household, don't you think?
Will Fran allow her anger to create a family rift? The Restless Years, 7 o'clock Monday on 10.
In the first 3 years of your car's life, you could need to replace all of these parts. That's very costly, not to mention the rising price of fuel. But there is one set of equipment that's built to last, your Olympic steels. Olympic steels are precision built for long life. And that adds up to real economy and safety. Choose Olympic steels, best in the long run.
Half an hour before the match, he took Sustagen, and he didn't. Now it's the fifth set, and he's whacked. And he isn't. Sustagen is high in energy, fast digested, for sustained energy that lasts him for hours.
Sustagen Sport, nutritionally complete high-energy protein food from your chemist. Sustagen Sport, raise your energy, lift your game.
Game, set, and match. he's going to jump the net. Show off.
For 54 years, Sires have been making top-quality suits, and they claim there is still no better value in Melbourne. Let's find out why.
I look for quality, and that's what I get here at Sires.
I buy several suits a year, and even though I pay less at Sires, there's no compromise on quality.
Although you're buying direct, Sires still retain that personalised service.
Tweed and pure wool suits, 2-piece $130 and 3-piece $145.
Buying's believing at Sires.
Well, Dandenong doing short sprints here. Unusual to see this happening before a game, Bill Jacobs.
Most unusual. I hope that they were thoroughly and completely warmed up before they did that. No doubt their phys ed man would ensure that they were.
Yeah, well, Ted just said getting the feel of the ground, but anyway, they'll need every feel of the ground if they're going to win this one today. Rob Asprey back up with us. Rob, you were talking about the umpires with us there off air a moment ago.
Oh, yes, I was. Actually, these are the two umpires who Sandringham have laid a claim for victimisation against as regards David Pledger being reported on 3 occasions this year. I should say the two umpires, they were involved in his last report.
Yeah, well, they're now not invited into the Sandringham rooms for drinks or whatever after the match, which I feel is a little bit hard to understand. I often think, Ted, what's happening with the game of football, and when all's said and done, it's a game, isn't it?
It's a pity that, whether it's publicity or whether they're trying to do their best for David Pledger. But I was talking to Maurice Dabb during the week, and they were refused admittance into the committee room, but Peter Hogan invited them into the social club, and he spoke with them for about an hour, and Maurice Dabb was saying that Peter Hogan had no gripes at all. He was quite happy about the situation.
Well, let's put Peter Hogan in, but what are we going to say, Rob?
Phil, during the week, I'm sure you'll want to mention this, at the Southern Cross, there was the farewell to Alex Gillen, which you compared. Maybe you'd like to make a comment about...
Well, I thought it was a great function.
It was, wasn't it?
It was a great tribute to Alex Gillen, who's been with the VFA for many years, and I thought Alex spoke particularly well. The way he handled it all and the manner in which he handled it, I think, endeared himself to everyone in the room.
He's been known as a controversial figure, and I liked his line, whether it was true or not, that he had 6 foolscap pages and he had to edit them quickly when he saw the reaction to everyone in the Southern Cross.
Yes, I think the VFA paid a tribute to a great man in football, because he did so much for football over the years.
A pioneer.
Yes, and both he and his wife have been given an overseas trip by the VFA. That is something tangible. But Alec can take with him in his retirement a lot of happy memories and thoughts of doing an excellent job and bringing in a lot of new innovations into football.
Phil, you've worked with him over a number of years during the development of the VFA in television. Was it a sad moment for you to say farewell to Alex Gillen?
It was a very sad moment, but of course, Rob, things do change as years go on, and those things have to be accepted. And I think Alec has accepted them in his defeat as president in the right manner, as I knew he would. And his time had come. And I had a great time with Alec over those years. Well, Port Melbourne have won the toss, and they've elected to kick to the northern end of the ground. And we'll have Dandenong kicking towards the Williamstown Road end as umpire Brian Oakley comes in for the bounce of the ball, and here we go. And it was Dino Ross getting the knockout from the ruck, but the pack immediately over the top of it. And we see umpire Stab now coming in for the ball up. And the two big fellows go in, and it was in the back to Ross against Amundsen, and Ross will get the free kick. While this fellow fires for Dandenong, they've got a big chance, but he went out of the game very quickly against Preston. He shoots it straight up to Woodman, the centre half forward for Dandenong, and Woodman has taken it out on the flank. Playing it across right into the right forward pocket. Glenn Townsend, the full forward, crept into that position to take the mark. So Townsend on a very, very acute angle at the Williamstown Road end of the ground. He looked back upfield then. He was getting a lead from Peter Tonks, who was listed to play in the back pocket. But down there on the forward line, there's the kick on its way, and it's the minor score of a behind, 1 minute after the commencement of play, to Dandenong. So they're first to score, as we have Peter Hall now getting ready for Port Melbourne to take the kick-off, and a quiet opening to the game here today. Tell you what, Bill Jacobs mightn't be wrong here. He didn't select Dandenong, but by gee, he was a little bit apprehensive. All right, it's passed out now towards Swan of Port Melbourne, and Swan plays it back in towards the centre of the ground. Players waiting under it. Grant O'Reilly is the player in there, usually a reliable mark. A push in the back, and the free kick will be taken by Christo. So Christo from out on the flank position sends it across towards Cook at centre half forward. Punched away from Cook by Biffin. Biffin immediately going back to the full back position as going down to the ground this time is Peter Wilkinson of Port Melbourne, and he'll get the free kick. So Wilkinson now. He's nearly within scoring range. He's got the wind behind him. He needs to go for the long kick instead of the pass. It's not a long kick, and up they fly for it. Biffin gets it down to ground. Dino Ross pushes it wide into the pocket, and here's the opportunity for Dandenong to clear. And immediately taken away this time by Madden. Madden now with 2 touches on the ground. Oh, he'll get caught. There he was, caught, and Wilkinson now comes in with a hand pass. Gets it down to Jim Christo. Christo with a further pass in towards Bruce Davis. Davis passes it wide. Moving in is Jim Christo again, across the centre half forward, and the mark has been taken by Swan, who came down from the centre, shoots for goal, and he's put it through for full points. So Port Melbourne a 1 goal, and Dandenong the 1 point. And that goal given away then, I felt, by Brian Madden, who tried to do too much. He touched it on the ground a couple of times, and you could see he was going to get caught, and he eventually did. Now let's have a look at the way Swan came into that. And, you know, Swan has been a prolific kick-getter from the centre for Port Melbourne over the years, as we have now. The ball being bounced, Ross getting the big knockout this time. Players going into the mud patch, which is unusual to see the mud down here at the Port Melbourne ground. Pushed away by Glenn Townsend, well wide of the pack towards Gordon Coventry, a well-known name of years gone by in football. But again, the umpire is blowing the whistle, and the free kick will be taken down here by Coventry. So Coventry on the half-forward line, bangs it across towards centre forward. Here's the big chance for the forwards down here. The umpire blowing the whistle. He's got a free kick out of it, and it will be taken by Hall of Port Melbourne. So here's Hall now with his kick, getting the lead from Jim Christo. Christo of Port Melbourne now comes in from the half-back line. He's got a good lead from Davis. Davis now about to bear down on the ball, but Evans comes in quickly to get the hand pass across to Dermott. Dermott of Port Melbourne towards the centre-forward zone, and the mark has been taken by Chris McConnell of Dandenong. He was selected in the centre, but he's in the back pocket, and there's the big fellow, Annanson, going up, fails to take the mark. As we see it kicked now for Port Melbourne by Shane Doyle. Doyle up towards the forward zone, and Kavanagh coming in to take the mark. Kavanagh now across towards Wilkinson. Wilkinson towards centre forward, and there's Ray Biffin leading Fred Cook in the race for the ball to take the mark. Biffin doing a good job at full back at the moment. Gets the short pass into Madden. Now Madden will move away and get his kick in towards that centre half forward zone. Players under the ball, punched down to the ground, and let's see what happens with it from here. Goes towards Swan, but coming up is Coventry. He threw himself into the pack. The umpire blows the whistle and will give the free kick against Coventry, and it will be taken by Peter Bradbury of Port Melbourne. So Bradbury now from the centre of the ground, plays it high in the air. Grant O'Reilly will come in from the side and juggle the ball to take a good mark. He's got a very safe pair of hands, this fellow, and I haven't seen him play a bad game over the last 3 years. So Grant O'Reilly from centre half forward, within scoring range, has the chance to post Port Melbourne's second goal on the board. Dandenong have scored 1 point. O'Reilly lines them up on its way. Goal umpire watching it, and I think it's missed. Yes, it's behind. So that takes Port on to 1-1, 7 points. Dandenong, the 1 point, Bill Jacobs.
Well, Port are fairly impressive coming into attack. Cook playing from behind Biffin. Biffin strong in defence. He's about to kick the ball back into play. Does so now, out in the direction of Ross, and Ross doesn't let the captain down. Takes the mark on the half-back flank, getting back into the back pocket area. Dandenong into attack from that area, directed in towards the centre of the ground, over the head of Coventry. It should have been a mark there, and this played the mark to Bradbury of Port Melbourne. Too tall for Coventry on that occasion. It's 1 goal, 1 to Port Melbourne, and Dandenong, as yet, have only scored 1 behind on the Olympic Tyres scoreboard. Bradbury's kick up to centre half forward. Heapin, that was, knocking it away, number 11 of Dandenong, but Kavanagh in the way there, knocking it further afield, over towards in the direction of Kavanagh from Swan. And the ball is going to be given to Dandenong, a free kick at their centre-half back position. They're defending for purpose of identification at the river end of the ground, and that's the end to which the breeze is blowing. It's only slight, but nevertheless there is some advantage there. Madden across to Biffin, going upfield, half-back flank, further down to the centre wing. We'll find Tonks on the run. Tonks balances himself. The ball bounces well on the firm surface. Left foot across towards the half-forward line, down and towards full-forward territory. It came out from hand pass to Orton to Callery for a goal.
Come on, that was in. You know it was in.
The ultimate test of any colour TV is its ability to reproduce skin tones. Philips colour is so natural, so advanced, that it can pick up the most subtle difference in tones and make them live. Philips natural colour skin tones make you feel you're really there. Philips, we want you to have the best.
We've played 7 minutes into the first term at Port Melbourne. Each team has kicked 1 goal, and Port surge into attack. Up through Swan at centre half forward, looking for Cook. Cook wrestling with Biffin, and in front is Heap to take the good mark, well shepherded by Biffin. Heap's hand pass is effective, and Dandenong go out of attack, or out of defence from Wallace up towards the centre wing, and the free kick must be given to Dandenong, and it will go to Townsend. Townsend dropping back to the half-back flank, looking for a lead upfield. He got it from Orton, but Orton's too far under the ball at the moment. His big grab has brought it down, and that will be Orton's mark. A good lead up and a good direct pass from Townsend. Orton at half forward flank, a left foot kick, and that's a huge kick, and will be through for full points. Now, that kick must have travelled fully 50 metres.
Clint Eastwood is Thunderbolt. Jeff Bridges is Lightfoot. Together they cause havoc as Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. The name of their game is money, and they'll use any means to get it. When it comes to action, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot never back off. Clint Eastwood and Jeff Bridges star as Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, 8:30 Monday on 10, The Movie People.
Following that prodigious kick by Orton, Dandenong a 2-1 to Port Melbourne 1-1, and Port come into attack. Heap was there, and Heap will be paid the free kick. Davis had him high on the arm there and attempted to mark. Heap goes away from the half-back flank, down to centre wing. Ooh, high there was Cousins, down to the ground. No result, and the bounce will take place. 8.5 minutes, creeping up towards 9 minutes into the first term here at Port Melbourne, and it's 2-1 to Dandenong, and Port Melbourne 1-1. Port won the toss, out of the ruck by Ross, doing well in there. Back to him with handball. The kick only dribbles away, allowing Swan to come in. Hurried handball into Jim Christdale. Occasion. To Orton. Orton on the half-forward line. It's a big kick, but it's well astray this time, and will or probably be marked up there in the forward pocket by Wright. Wright's taking a shot for goal now, and it might be good. It's another goal to Dandenong.
Okay, off to bed.
Amplimesh security screen. Year-round protection for homes and families. Solid one-piece aluminium that's super tough. Your money just can't buy better.
Oh, Bob, he's not home yet. Come
Insist on Amplimesh.
Look, it's Uncle Bob.
It's very early in the game, but Dandenong very impressive. 3-1 to 1-1 on the Olympic Tyres scoreboard, and out of the ruck it comes to Coventry. Coventry playing the ball well in front of him, knocks it further afield. Swan doing battle over there for Port Melbourne, number 7, but it's gone over the line to be thrown in. 10 minutes into the term, and it's 3-1 to 1-1 with Dandenong leading.
Right, and the ball about to come back into play on the stand side of the ground. Annanson and Ross going up. Annanson getting the knockout from the ruck, and we notice that it was Kavanagh who came into it then and pushed it over the line once again. Now the ruckmen matching one another, and again it's Ross who gets the knockout from the ruck down towards Callery up towards the half-forward line, and it's all Dandenong, but walking through is Dermott now for Port Melbourne around the stand wing position. Up they go, and the mark has been taken out here for Port Melbourne. All right, it's Anderson who took the mark. It's Wilkinson now getting possession. Wilkinson snap shoots for goal, and it's through. So that's another one to Port Melbourne. They go to 2-1.
Got the bangers in the Mazda, got the singers in the Mazda, got a comfy chair and a drop to share in the Mazda.
Meet the Mazda family of tough one-tonners. Petrol or diesel, you'll be proud to put your name on a Mazda.
You'll be proud, proud, proud to put your name on a Mazda.
Could be a very interesting game, this one, as from the centre it's being juggled around. There's Swan moving into it. Right behind him is Knight, but no one able to break away with the ball, and umpire Murray Stabb giving the free kick to Port Melbourne again. It's Doyle in towards the centre of the ground. No one able to break away with it. Look at the pack form here. Umpire calling play on again. Heads being ducked. There's a trip, and the free kick will be taken by Wilkinson of Port Melbourne. So Wilkinson right from the centre of the ground, having a bit of trouble keeping his footing there as he sends it towards centre half forward to Evans, and Evans dropping short has taken the mark. He's grabbed from behind. You can't do that. That was Madden. Now Madden's made 2 mistakes so far. Slow to get rid of the ball on one occasion, and now it calls the wrath of the umpire as he has a 15-metre penalty applied against him. There's the kick from Evans. He guides it beautifully too, and there's another one up to Port Melbourne, which makes the scores even. Both sides on 3 goals, 1.
I doubt very much whether he'd have kicked the distance if he hadn't received that 15-metre penalty, you know.
No, he probably wouldn't, and I think what'll have to happen is Madden will have to think a bit more with his football.
Well, two very bad errors. Oh, my dear, are we keeping you up?
Right. The umpires are bouncing this ball well wide of the centre, which is the first time I've seen this happen on a Port Melbourne ground. It's usually been in such excellent condition. Ruckman move into it again, and Annanson is the player. I thought Annanson would get the free kick. Coming in on him was Woodman, and he kicks it up towards centre half forward, and taking the mark this time is Cousins of Dandenong. Cousins goes for the pass up towards that centre forward zone, but it's Demetrio coming into it. Demetrio can't get rid of the ball, but Kavanagh comes in to pick it up, plays it around the flank towards Wilkinson, and there's a player getting it around the neck, Cousins, and he'll get the free kick. Cousins of Dandenong from the outer wing position has the chance with both sides on 3-1. Has the chance to put it right up forward, gets it towards centre half forward. Players throwing themselves in rather desperately at the ball, with umpire Murray Stabb deciding it will be a ball up. True centre half forward position for Dandenong. Moving in again is Woodman, tried to reach over Annanson, which is no mean effort. He couldn't do it, and the free kick will be awarded this time to Peter Tonks. So Tonks from centre half forward. They've been kicking well, this Dandenong side, from a long way out, and that's no exception. Have a look at it as it goes down towards the forward zone, and there'll be a free kick, and it'll be taken for Port Melbourne by Demetrio. Andy Demetrio, the back pocket player. So Demetrio looking for the lead, hesitating slightly as he decides to put it out towards the half-back line on the stand side of the ground. Most players going for the thump to get it down to the ground. Pushed out by, or dribbled out by Ross. He gets it across here towards Coventry. Coventry sends it in towards that right forward pocket. Townsend tried to mark it and puts it straight into the hands of Dino Ross. Ross was standing completely unattended at the side of the goal square there to take the mark. He'll be brought round on a slight angle. And here he goes with his 5th kick, and he's put it right through the middle for another goal to put Dandenong in front.
DuPont present America's #1 premium car wax. Rain Dance, the one with a watertight guarantee. Guaranteed to shine longer, to bead water longer, to last longer than any other leading car wax. Or DuPont give you your money back. Rain Dance, the #1 premium car wax, guaranteed to shine longer, to bead water longer, to last longer. The Rain Dance guarantee is watertight. Available at Myer, all stores, selected Shell service stations and all McEwen stores.
Right back here and just waiting on the bounce of the ball. And here we go. Annenson one side, and he gets a big knockout from the ruck, but it's pushed away from Swan. Goes well wide. Anderson picking it up, gets a push there, gets grabbed, but gets his kick in, and he was looking across for Grant O'Reilly. Couldn't get the distance. It goes to the boundary line and over. Right now, we're just waiting on the throw-in to be effected. Here's Rob Asprey.
It's 16 minutes into the first quarter. There's the throw-in. Getting the ball down is Woodman. Players trying to get possession, but the umpire has said holding the ball, and the kick will go to Port Melbourne's Graham Anderson, the former Collingwood player. There's the kick by Anderson, a short one right in towards Fred Cook, but Woodman comes in and knocks the ball across the line and out of bounds. Only about 10 metres around from the behind post for Port Melbourne, kicking to the Yarra River end. There's the throw in from behind. It's Woodman again, winning in the ruck at the moment. Gets the ball down, gives the opportunity for his teammate in Coventry to get a kick going to the wing position, but it just beats the players over the line and out of bounds. Might have been very close to being on the full, but it apparently bounced in play before it went out. Right on the wing position in front of the Norman Goss stand. There's the throw in, and Annenson shoves out his opponent, gets the ball down. Gutting the ball is Christo, who is grabbed, and he will get the free kick. Jim Christo, one of two brothers playing for Port Melbourne today. A big driving kick right down towards the scoring zone for Port Melbourne. In front is Heap. He can't get the ball, gets it out now. Coming through is Evans. Evans doesn't do much with it at all. It's kicked out now by Wallace, going towards the centre of the ground, and it's Dandenong through Orton, who kicks it right back towards the centre half forward position. Oh, a great battle there as Callery takes it, sharks the ball down in towards the full forward position, and it's marked there by Wright. Wright in the right position to score a goal, even though the angle is a 45-degree angle. He's already kicked one, according to our statistician Ian Gibbs. Only about 8 metres out from goal. Moving in now, a very valuable goal if he can get this one right through the middle for Dandenong. And it was great play here by the little bloke in Callery, Ted.
Yes, great play. He edged, there was a free kick there to John Christo, no doubt about that at all. We saw it quite clearly. But you see Lou Wright here, a very valuable player in the forward pocket. Coming down to him, he makes no mistake and puts it through for full points, and that's Dandenong's 5th goal.
Yes, and the scoreboard now, the Olympic Tyre scoreboard shows the margin exactly 12 points in favour of Dandenong. 5-1-31 to 3-1-19. Back to the action in the centre of the ground, very muddy out there. It's Townsend who'll get the nod from the umpire. Dandenong kicking into a rather gusty breeze. It's not making much difference at the moment as Wilkinson thumps the ball down, but it gives the opportunity to Madden, who also knocks it from across. Gives the chance now for Townsend to come in right down to the full forward position, and the players now going in hard as the ball is on the ground. Players certainly, no beg your pardons out there at the moment. Looked like a free kick to me, but play on, says the umpire, and he'll ball it up on the half-back flank position for Port Melbourne. We've now played 90 minutes into the first quarter.
Right, Rob, and there goes the bounce once again, and Ruckman move into it. That was Hall who got the knockout then. And holding the ball, says the umpire, and the free kick here to be taken by Big Vic Annenson. Annenson looking for Swan, who's come right down from the centre. Swan going around the boundary line, gets a hand pass in under pressure. Bradbury moving upfield, overruns the ball. Coming in to tackle him was Peter Tonks. Umpire blows the whistle, and the free kick will be taken by Bradbury. So Bradbury now from the half-back line, dodges around his opponent, trying to put a bit of life into the game as it comes up towards the half-forward line. O'Reilly goes up in the air, pushes it down towards Anderson. Anderson loping away with that long stride, shoots for goal, and it's a ripper. Right through the big sticks for another goal to Port Melbourne.
Thanks to space-age know-how, one of the most dramatic developments in heating history is here, the Beaucamp Quartz Energy Saver by Lemaire. Invented by a leading space scientist, the Beaucamp has sophisticated electric quartz elements designed to direct the heat so it warms you first, not just the air. Beaucamp's energy controller can be set to keep you warm and allows you to use less power, so you save money too. See the Beaucamp now at electrical retailers.
Available at Kmart, Billy Guyatt stores, SEC showrooms and leading electrical retailers.
Well, immediately on the bounce of the ball, the umpire says that there's a free kick being awarded to Wharton of Dandenong. So Wharton now sinks the left boot into it. A long kick once again up towards that forward zone, and let's see what will happen with it here on the bounce. There's Christo going down to the ground, and players struggling to gain possession as the umpire says it will be a ball up, taking it from Coventry. And the ball in the right forward pocket for Dandenong. Up they go, and the knockout by Woodman once again. Hall goes in over the top of it, passes it out wide, taken away by Christo, Jim Christo. And there's the kick on its way, back wide of the centre of the ground. They move in, it's forced back into the hands of Swan. Swan out towards Annanson. Annanson on the stand wing position now. Oh, loses the run of it completely, gets pushed in the back. And he'll take the free kick, and that was very fortunate for the big fella. He gets the hand pass looking for Wilkinson. Wilkinson runs back through play and then gets the hand pass across to Swan. Swan now does the blind turn, plays it up towards Evans on the half-forward line. Sandwiched in between two players, but Evans taking the mark. Now Port Melbourne trying desperately to lift their game. The scores are reading at the present time. Port Melbourne 4-1, Dandenong 5-1 in a high-scoring quarter. There's the kick on its way. It's offline and will go through for one behind. So that'll take Port Melbourne on to 4-2-26 and Dandenong 5-1-31. Let's have a look at this mark.
A very courageous one, Phil. He could see that player coming right at him.
Those players, Ted?
He couldn't see the one coming from behind that ball.
He was right in between the two of them. Okay, it's the captain and coach of Dandenong to take the kick-off, Ray Biffin. Last line of defence, Biffin out towards Ross, but there's the run on Ross this time from Cook, who's up in the ruck, I think, by the look of it now. Yes, they're changing in the ruck. Annanson down at full forward and Cook having a run on the ball. Something I don't think will work. Fred Cook hasn't had a kick yet as full forward. Let's see what he does here. Dino Ross all over him as Ross gets the knockout in the ruck. Christo's got to get the free kick. That's against Stephen Knight, and Christo for the pull around the neck comes in with his free kick. There's Annanson coming out into the middle of the pack, pushed away from him by Biffin. Biffin having to get up pretty high to get that away. Crowding over the ball, and the umpire will ball it up. So it's about 35 metres out from the Port Melbourne goal. Ross in the ruck again, but Annanson went up with him then to get the knockout. It goes to Callery. Callery spears it out towards Tonks. Tonks now with his kick right downfield. Waiting for it is Cousins. Cousins a bit far under it, but it bounces back into the hands of Horton. Horton needs a long kick and gets a short one in. And it's Hall, or Demetrio, resting in the back pocket, comes out to take the mark. Horton racing across field and gets into the back of Doyle, and Doyle will get the free. So Doyle of Port Melbourne from the half-back line on the outer side of the ground, looking for the lead across in the centre. And there's Fred Cook, too far under the ball. Comes through in the direction of Anderson. Anderson now spears it towards centre forward, but there's Biffin getting out in front of Annanson. Annanson too slow at full forward, racing right up the ground. And dropping in there was Davis for Port Melbourne at full forward. And there's Annanson out on the wing, following Biffin right out. But Biffin doing particularly well at full back as it's played back into, or put back into play once again. Comes off the hands of the pack, and Swan it is who shoots it up towards centre half forward again. And there we see again Ray Biffin out at centre half back to take the mark. Bill.
Well, I've just been looking at this Port Melbourne team. They've got nobody on the ball at the moment because Cook's in the middle of the ground, Annanson on the forward line, and Dandenong surge into attack, but John Christo will repulse it, doing good work across the half-back line. Got the lead up there from Davis, and it's gone very close to the line, and ultimately, as you saw, over the line. Dandenong 5-1 and Port Melbourne 4-2. Dandenong, it's Dandenong's quarter at this stage, and but for indiscreet tackling, I think they would have done better. Knocked away by Heaps, out to the Port Melbourne player in Kavanagh, and Kavanagh onto the left foot, puts it in towards the centre of the ground, and here we'll find Bradbury coming up and doing it strongly. Handball was meant there for Anderson, didn't reach that far, and Dandenong get out of trouble with Knight, Stephen Knight, kicking up towards the centre half forward spot, only to see Dermott in the way for Port Melbourne. From centre half back, he speared it across to Doyle. Doyle will be called to play on by teammates, does. Hand passes up to Swan. Swan coming up through the centre half forward spot, kicking to full forward. Annanson Biffin, away it goes. Jim Christo, handball out very quickly to Swan, and he's put it through for a goal. That's good football. Good football by Port Melbourne. And it's now 5-2. Here's the replay.
Yes, good football by Port Melbourne. Good football by Port. They haven't had much method in their attack so far, but here we find Davis included in the side this week, and he made sure of that one, and very thrilled about it too.
Well, it's 25 minutes into the term, and we see Port Melbourne 5-2, leading Dandenong 5-1. A fair reflection of what's taken place. Cook attempting to get it out of the centre, saw Kavanagh pick up very quickly, get the ball to Swan. Swan to Anderson. Good football there. Geelong West doing well in their game. 4-2 to 8 points. That's against Frankston, of course. And there we are here at Port Melbourne, 5-2 to 5-1, with Anderson lining them up and putting it through truly. So Port have hit the front on to 6-2, 38, and they lead Dandenong 5-1, 31 on the Olympic Tyre scoreboard, and not a bad first quarter, Teddy.
A very good first quarter of football. We've seen 11 goals scored so far, and Port Melbourne didn't start so well, and I mentioned a couple of minutes ago they had no method in attack whatsoever. Poor Cook was getting beaten by Ray Biffin, and Anderson up at full forward looked very slow to me when leading out to the ball, but no doubt about it, the place for him to stay is right in that goal square, Bill, and for Port Melbourne to get the ball to him.
Just on 2 minutes into the time on period, Cook trying to get it out of the centre, very slow, and it's intercepted by Cousins, but the free kick is going to go against Cook. For holding the ball. It will be taken by Peter Knight from the centre, out to a lead up by Woodman. Number 1 leading out wide to the half-forward line. Demetrio intercepting, breaking the tackle and only just in time. Woodman coming in again, also Kavanagh, and finally it'll be taken away by Knight. Peter Knight up towards the half-forward line, further afield, and handball finds it going out to Port Melbourne full-back Hall, and from the back pocket he delivers the ball well around, up towards the half-back line, and Evans taking another good mark, walking beautifully into the centre of the ground to Wilkinson. Wilkinson nearly taking it on the run, but right up through centre half-forward, only to see the attack. Peter out, and the mark taken by McConnell in the last line of defence. He'll go to the outer side.
Right, and McConnell now playing it towards this outer side, moving in as Wallace. Wallace trying to dodge around Wilkinson, plays it towards the half-forward line, over the heads of players down here, and still no one able to control it as Townsend punches it down to the ground. Swan gains possession. He passes across here to Evans. Evans now coming through players to put it high in the air. Oh, have a look at Christo under the hammer. Comes through to Madden. Madden couldn't get rid of it. The umpires called play on. Christo gets the hand pass in towards Davis. Davis shoots it towards centre forward. Biffin backed his judgment, scooped it away in desperation then. Wilkinson goes over the ball. He dribbles it out towards Davis. Davis then gets it further afield. Moving in here is Kavanagh. Kavanagh screws it around towards centre forward. There's Grant O'Reilly moving out. He'll turn around, have a shot for goal. Then the big fellow Anderson in the goal square. Couldn't quite mark it. And it's gone through for one behind. So Port Melbourne go on to 6-3, 39, and Dandenong a 5-1, 31. In a very entertaining first quarter, with Biffin now getting his kick in, and a long one too towards the half-back line. It's Gordon Coventry going up to take the mark. He goes for the hand pass across here towards Peter Knight. Knight round the flank position towards the half-forward line. They rise for it, and the mark has been taken by Johnny Christo. He gets his kick now towards Evans. Evans a bit far under the ball, and Kavanagh marks it but gets a push in the back at the same time. So Kavanagh from wide of the centre gets the kick towards Davis, who was a bit far under the ball, and coming in from behind was Andrew Heap. Heap now after his mark in towards the centre. Oh, and chipping in beautifully was Shane Doyle of Port Melbourne to pull in the mark. So Shane Doyle from the centre with Port working their way on top. Very lethargic at the start, Port Melbourne, but they're certainly doing the job now. Up they go for it, punched away from Anderson. Comes back in towards Anderson, who step shoots for goal, but a behind is the result. So Port Melbourne, 6 goals for 40, and Dandenong 5-1, 31. Rob.
And we've played now 29.5 minutes into the first quarter, and it's only been this time on period that Port Melbourne have actually got on top of Dandenong, and they now lead by a margin of 9 points. Ray Biffin, who's been doing very well for Dandenong, about to put the ball into play. Big driving kick right towards the centre of the ground. Players go up high, but it goes over the back, gives the opportunity for Coventry. But moving in is Knight, Peter Knight. He'll take the ball, has one bounce. Then the pass down to the forward pocket position, leading out as Woodman, and he takes the mark under pressure. Woodman just short of the forward flank, right forward flank for Dandenong, and I would imagine he's kicking into a rather strong breeze there. This will be a good goal if he gets it. Dandenong, a very handy goal if they can. It goes right across, weight on the umpire. It's ball points to Dandenong. Another goal. So a very handy goal to Dandenong makes the margin now just 3 points in favour of Port Melbourne. Dandenong 6 goals, 1-31, trailing Port Melbourne 6-4, 40.
And they're coming up to the 31-minute mark in the first quarter. Let's have a look at this mark again as we see Woodman moving right out, rises pretty high. Of course, we must mention he got a thump in the back of the neck to go on with too, but we must mention the Gillette mark of the day, where the player receives $50 in cash and the Gillette products. Christo now towards the half-forward line, but the mark has been taken by Chris McConnell in defence for Dandenong. McConnell back in towards the centre. Ross goes down in the middle of the pack, punched away, comes through towards Coventry. Coventry up towards Callery. Callery now with a hand pass wide. He gets it out to Orton. Orton, the big fellow, having trouble handling the ball here. Look at him go as he gets it out wide again towards Peter Tonks. Tonks with his kick towards centre half forward, and the mark has been taken by Peter Knight. He's been in quite a bit of play in the last few minutes, Knight. Had quite a few hand passes and handled the ball well, but this is his first kick, isn't it, Ian? Fifth.
Yep.
Right, he gets his kick in, and it's a good long kick too, right towards that centre forward zone. And will be kicked off the ground by Keller, and he's put it through for a goal for Dandenong to hit the front. They're pretty quiet down here at Port Melbourne when the opposition score a goal. So Dandenong move on to 7-1, 43 with Port Melbourne on 6-4, a total of 40. Well, it's not a bad game, Ted, is it?
A very good game of football. It started very slowly, Phil, as you'd mentioned, and as we watch the replay now of Knight having that shot for goal, and you'll see that Callery coming in here right on the goal line virtually to put his boot on it, and full points for Dandenong. It started very slowly, Phil, but it's developed into a great game with 13 goals so far, and what great kicking.
Right, now here goes the ball wide of the pack after the knockout from the ruck position, and that's Christo moving into it. Jim Christo couldn't handle it, but he's got possession now. He gets the kick in up towards that centre forward zone. There's Grant O'Reilly with a hand pass. Look at this from Anderson, puts it to Davis in the goal square, and Davis very nonchalantly puts the ball through right on the siren for Port Melbourne now to hit the front by 3 points. Port Melbourne have moved on to 7-4, 46, and Dandenong 7-1, 43. Bill Jacobs, comments on the game to half-time.
Well, it's a good game of football. The spoils of the quarter were evenly shared, and I think Dandenong deserved to be pacing it with Port Melbourne at quarter time. There are 3 problems for Biffin. One, he's got to do something about Christo, who I think is the best man on the ground. That's Jim Christo around the packs. Secondly, he's got to keep tabs on Graham Anderson on the half-forward flank, who is cutting that half-back line to ribbons. And thirdly, he's got to consider what he can do down on his half-forward line, because they're breaking down there. The successful Dandenong attacks have gone over their half-forward line. But nevertheless, you can't have everything. Biffin himself, not many problems, because he's beaten Cook and Anderson whilst at full forward. So after a very even quarter, I wouldn't suggest one way or the other what's going to happen at half-time, but if the game continues at this pace, it's going to be very interesting.
Ted Henry.
Well, Phil, the way the game started, Phil, it looked as if it was going to be all Dandenong, with Dean Ross controlling the ruck, but that seemed to give a bit of a needle to Vic Anderson, because after about 5 or 10 minutes, Anderson came right in and started to lift himself a bit more and put a greater effort in, and he was contesting very well with Ross, and that's where the game starts, at those centre bounces. I thought Port Melbourne made the mistakes. They did a lot of short passing, a lot of crisscrossing across the ground instead of going straight down the middle. Dandenong, full credit to them and the way they started that game, Phil. They were doing everything right. They were pressurising Port Melbourne. They were getting front whenever they can, and also, to credit to Ray Biffin also, he was holding Fred Cook, and Fred Cook having to change in the ruck for Anderson is just not on, Phil. It won't work.
Yes, well, we said that at the beginning of the game. We didn't think the ruck changes would work, and it hasn't. Fred Cook having a lot of trouble with Biffin at full forward, and in the ruck he's not able to handle the ball at all. Apart from Jim Christo, Bill, I thought the player very effective for Port Melbourne has been Swan, directing the ball from the centre. Once you can get it away from the centre here, with Dandenong, who have been winning mainly in the ruck on those centre bounces, and it's been Swan who's been getting the ball away from the centre and doing a lot of damage downfield. Dandenong, as you say, have trouble, Ted, on their half-forward line. They've been kicking their goals from a long way out here today. But anyway, Rob, what are your comments on the game?
Well, considering the players that Bill Jacobs mentioned, I think he summed it up pretty well. But I would like to say, considering the conditions, Phil, I think it's probably one of the most interesting quarters of football I've seen, with Dandenong appearing as if they were going to trail, but then they came back, and then they dominated for a while, and then Port Melbourne came back late in that quarter. But I think the thing that really worries me is the ease with which Port Melbourne score those goals.
All right, Ian, the statistics on the go.
Port Melbourne kick getters, Swan and Jim Christo playing well, combining well from the centre through to the half-forward line. Swan's had 8 kicks, Jim Christo 8. Wilkinson started off the quarter well with 5 kicks, and Bradbury strong in defence with 4. Anderson 5 kicks. Dandenong kick getters, Ross started the quarter off well, not only kicking around the ground but also rucking well with 5 kicks. Coventry 5, Townsend 4, Orton 6, and Biffin playing well at full-back with 3 kicks, and he's only had 1 goal kicked against him. Goal kickers for Port Melbourne, 2 to Davis, 1 each to Swan, Wilkinson, Evans, Anderson and Annanson. And for Dandenong, 2 to Callery and Wright, and 1 each to Orton, Ross and Woodman. So far as marks are concerned, for Dandenong 20, Port Melbourne 16. Free kicks for Port Melbourne 14, and for Dandenong 12.
And at a quarter time, we have Port Melbourne leading by 3 points. They're 7-4-46 to Dandenong 7-1-43.
Announcing NCT Steel from Goodyear. A new type of steel radial with a tread based on Goodyear's world-dominating Formula One rain tyre. NCT Steel offers more grip, more driver control than ever before.
Grip means safety, even at low speeds, particularly on greasy, wet roads after light rain. So when I heard about Goodyear's new NCT steel radial in Europe, I had to try it for myself. Driver response and grip are outstanding, particularly in the wet, where the NCT tread grips like the road's dry. Well, I'm convinced. Any tyre that can offer this much grip has got to be a safer proposition on any car.
More grip, more driver control. NCT Steel, only from Goodyear.
For grip, I can't think of a better steel radial.
Okay, off to bed.
Amplimesh security screen. Year-round protection for homes and families. Solid one-piece aluminium that's super tough. Your money just can't buy better.
Oh, Bob, he's not home yet. Come
Insist on Amplimesh.
in. Look, it's Uncle Bob.
Amplimesh security doors are available from BJ Screens and Blinds, Huntingdale. Phone 543-3133 now for a free measure and quote. All doors made to measure and fully guaranteed.
A new force is here. Retrovision. Appliance power.
New Hoover Zodiac 12 auto washer with stainless steel bowl and matching hot shot dryer. Great value now at Retrovision. Braemar sets the pace with Opal Level 2 gas cooker, $627. Gas wall furnace, $279, now at Retrovision.
Retrovision. Appliance power.
There's a store near you.
In the first weeks, Bellamy will play it soft and play it very hard. He'll be in love, he'll be in danger, he'll fight for his job, he'll fight for his life, and as a reward, his own life will be shattered. But Steve Bellamy is a fighter. John Stanton stars in the outstanding new Australian production, Bellamy, 8:30 Thursday on 10. Proudly sponsored by Cambrook.
We're back here again at the Port Melbourne ground, just having a look at the scores and checking them off. It's 3 points the difference. Port Melbourne 7-4-46 and Dandenong 7-1-43. In an entertaining game, and we're looking forward to the next 3 quarters. Orton, who's kicked a goal from a long way out there in the first quarter, nearly from the wing here at Port Melbourne, and those of you who know the ground would know it had to be a long kick. A little bit slow, he has problems, he's given a few free kicks away, but nevertheless doing a good job with 6 kicks that he's had in the game so far. Just waiting on some of the youngsters to move off the ground here at Port. Crowd has built up somewhat too since the beginning of the game, and to Port Melbourne supporters we suggest you come across, because you'll see the team having a great tussle here with Dandenong.
A lot of the Port supporters may have given them away after last week, Phil. 11 goals.
I don't think Port Melbourne supporters are that fickle, Ted. And let's have a look at the quarter time scores coming through from other games. Brunswick on 31 with Coburg. Paran, well down on Preston, 58 Preston, Paran 14. Geelong West 26 and Frankston 2-13. Williamstown in second division 11, Waverley 32. As play goes on here, it's down on the forward zone for Port Melbourne. There's Fred Cook getting a boot to the ball and going down to the no, the umpires decided to ball it, put it back into play. I thought there may have been a free kick there. Up went the big fellow Grant O'Reilly, but picking it up is Wilkinson. Wilkinson shoots it across towards the centre forward zone, but McConnell standing there in defence gets the ball for Dandenong, plays it out towards Tonks. It bounces back beautifully for Tonks, and Tonks up towards the half forward line from defence now into attack for Dandenong, and trying to trap the ball is Peter Knight. Knight high in the air towards that centre forward zone. Up they go for it. Players go down to the ground. Oh, there was the opportunity for Woodman to grab the ball and run through, but picking it up is Demetrio. Demetrio passes it out. No one able to break away. Peter Hall tried to break there, couldn't do so, and umpire Murray Stab says it will be a ball up. Well, a couple of good passages of play as we await now for Stab to put the ball in the air or bounce it down. In comes Demetrio in the ruck, gets into Woodman, but the umpire allows the play to continue as Demetrio passes it out. Callery comes in, he tries to grab the ball. The umpire blowing the whistle. I didn't think it went over, but the boundary umpire says yes. As we see it coming back in once again, and up they go, and Demetrio gets the knockout from the ruck. It comes down towards John Christo. He passes it out towards Swan. Swan moves away with the ball high in the air towards the centre half forward zone. Big players go up, and it will be a free kick for a push in the back to Grant O'Reilly. So O'Reilly there gets the lead from Wilkinson out on the half forward line. It's over his head. It might give Madden the chance to get to him. He does, and forced to go for the hand pass, but he was tripped. Had the leg held, and he gets the free kick, Wilkinson. So Wilkinson now gets the lead at centre forward. Up they fly for it. Pushed down to the ground here by Andrew Heap. Evans is the player trying to gain possession down here, but no one able to get away. That was Evans being grabbed as umpire Brian Oakley comes in for a ball up. Now the bounce down in the right forward pocket for Port Melbourne, knocked very wide here, out towards Wilkinson once again. He hand passes to Christo. Christo turning around, puts it on its way. There's Biffin leading in the race for the ball. He had it punched away from him, and it will be thrown back into play. Fred Cook coming in from behind that time, and he was more or less playing the full back's position rather than the full forward. Cook still not having a kick, and we're into the second quarter as we have Sunshine 39 leading Camberwell 22. That'll be a turn up for the books if that continues. And now the ball coming back in towards the centre of the ground. Players race in for it. It's Swan trying to handle it, does now, and then gets a pass to Anderson. Anderson across this time to Bradbury. Bradbury with his kick towards centre forward, and the mark has been taken by Stephen Knight. So Knight now with his kick wide of the centre of the ground. Doyle tried to take the mark, and I think the umpires paid it. So that could be a contender for the Gillette mark of the day. Ted, wasn't a bad mark then. As we have Doyle out on the right half forward flank for Port Melbourne. Comes in with his kick, and it's a high kick towards that right forward pocket position. O'Reilly flew high in the air, fails to take the mark. And it was Cook who got the kick in towards the centre forward zone. Ross a bit slow in trying to handle the ball, but then gets his kick towards Tonks on the outer wing. Tonks now can go for a bit of a run, gets the one bounce in, and then swings it up towards the half forward line. Players set here, punched wide, and coming in again is John Christo. Christo now, after touching the ball, gets the hand pass to Swan, and Swan dodges cleverly then to get his kick in now, spears it towards centre half forward, and Kavanagh comes in to take the mark for Port Melbourne. Kavanagh now from centre half forward, getting the long kick down towards Cook, who's under the ball, but it's Ross who comes in from behind, tried to get it away. There's Cook with it, gets his kick in, but puts it across the face of goal and puts it through for one behind. That was Cook's first kick in the game, 5 minutes into the second quarter, which means it takes now Port Melbourne on to 7-5 and Dandenong is 7-1. Kick off for Dandenong by Ray Biffin. Biffin in towards the centre of the ground. It's Anderson handling the ball. Gets the hand pass. He's looking for Swan. He's put it over Swan's head. Kavanagh picked it up, but immediately we see it kicked upfield here by Townsend. Townsend towards that half forward line, and here's Callery coming in, head guard and all, to the centre half forward position, where we see Demetrio come in and take the mark in defence. Demetrio in towards the centre of the ground, pushed away from players here, and it's the opportunity now for Peter Cousins to get away with it. Cousins to over the centre of the ground, and it will be a free. This is against Bradbury and will be taken by Woodman. Woodman to centre forward, up they go, but the umpire may call it back. Yes, he's calling it back. And it'll be Woodman, Chris Woodman, to take the kick from the centre. And there it goes. Oh, Madden making good position at centre half forward. He lines them up, puts the ball on its way. He didn't wait long enough, I feel. Oh, and nearly a mark taken, but touched through. And that takes now Dandenong on to 7-2, 44, and Port Melbourne 7-4, a total of 46, 7-5 Port Melbourne. So they go on to 44, and let's have a look at these scores again. We have Port Melbourne 7-5, 47, and Dandenong 7-2, a total of 44. Bill Jacobs.
Well, it's still even money each of two, isn't it, really? It's out of bounds now on Dandenong's half-forward line. And spinning back into play. Annanson was successful there, but it's down to Cousins, and Cousins pushes it over the line. So we'll take the check on the score there. It's Port Melbourne 7-5, 47, Dandenong 7-2, 44, and we've played 6.5 to 7 minutes into the second term. Annanson quite successful there to Swan. Swan a headache for Dandenong, pops it across to centre wing, looking for Evans, or the boundary line, and the boundary line won. Box Hill and Yarraville very close, 3 points the difference in favour of the guys from the White Horse. Centre wing position, Port Melbourne 7-5 to 7-2. Nothing decisive coming out of that, and the umpire will have to bounce. Still on centre wing in front of the Port Melbourne coaches box. 47 to 44. Annanson out, but it'll be taken away by Dandenong, but it's an indiscreet kick by Madden, who's played an indiscreet game, as it were, with some bad tackling. And this time he's kicked the ball out of bounds, and the free kick will go to Bradbury. Bradbury of Port Melbourne, a left foot kick. Kicks long, down towards the centre of the ground. O'Reilly was high there, knocked away from him, giving Madden the chance to atone for the other mistake, and he does. Does it well. Up through the half-forward flank position, Demetrio, and Demetrio takes a good mark, and he might have the ball taken from him. He saw what he did. He slapped Ross in the face with the ball, and then kicked it out towards his team's half-back line. John Christo in possession, looking for somebody to lead up, and it's his brother accepting the hand pass and balking, going away up towards centre wing. Slick handball to Swan. Swan from centre wing drives deep into attack, and it's Port Melbourne's mark to O'Reilly. Well, they did that easily, and they were lucky to get away with it from Demetrio up here at the full-back position.
A very good passage of play started by Johnny Christo then, Bill.
Well, O'Reilly's got the kick, and he's directly in front of goal at the 8-minute mark.
I noticed the runner come over and talk to Demetrio about putting that ball into the face of Ross.
And O'Reilly's kick is true, and that's another goal to Port Melbourne to make them 8 goals, 5-43, leading Dandenong 7-2-44.
There's the replay there of that mark, and you watch this incident here. Demetrio has taken the mark and decides to give Ross a slap in the face with it.
The runner had come out there. They wouldn't want a free kick at that stage.
They certainly wouldn't.
Well, it's back in the centre to get the game started again. Umpire Stab looking around to see that everything's in order with his boundary umpires and putting the ball down firmly. And it was Ross, I think. Woodman out of the centre, but Bradman defending well for Port Melbourne. Is up through centre half back to kick down to centre half forward, but standing in the path once again is McConnell, who was probably Dandenong's best defender thus far, alongside of Biffin, probably on reflection. So McConnell comes up from the half-back flank. His kick is directed towards centre-half forward, but Annanson, starting to get a little bit of touch in his marking, has taken another one at centre-half back for Port Melbourne. Drops the shortener into the centre of the ground to Bradbury. Bradbury will break, and from there is kicked to the forward pocket. And the penalty free kick will go downfield. And Freddie Cook was anxious to get that kick, I think. But Davis has got it, and he's already kicked 2 goals. There's his angle on the dry Port Melbourne turf. It's not a good kick. Hit the post. 1 point only, and Port Melbourne now 8-6. 54, leading Dandenong 7-2-44. And Port Melbourne starting to exert a bit of pressure now, and Dandenong wilting a little bit. Biffin out to Woodman is good football. Woodman's hand pass is terrible football. He atoned by tapping it over to Tonks. Intercepted there by Kavanagh. Kavanagh will get the free kick. Against Woodman, plain to see, and 10 minutes into the quarter, it's 8-6 to 7-2 with Port Melbourne leading. Kavanagh across to Swan, who's been very destructive roaming from the centre. Kicks long towards full forward. Cook backing back, thumped away there by Heap. very close to the line and popped through for a goal to Port Melbourne, I think, at the post. Well, Anderson's very clever the way he scouts those packs, Teddy.
He's a very smart player, and that's the type of football he was playing with Port Melbourne even before he went to Collingwood, Bill. A very damaging footballer and a player that you can't leave untagged.
Now, that's his forte, roving the packs, as it were, swooping in from the half-forward flank.
Right, well, there's the kick-off. Goes towards the centre of the ground, and Dandenong, as Bill said, starting to wilt a bit. As we see Swan gaining possession now, banging it towards the goals. And it's through for another one to Port Melbourne to take them to 9-7.
In the first 3 years of your car's life, you could need to replace all of these parts. That's very costly, not to mention the rising price of fuel. But there is one set of equipment that's built to last, your Olympic steels. Olympic steels are precision built for long life. And that adds up to real economy and safety. Choose Olympic steels, best in the long run.
On the bounce, let's see what happens here. As Woodman gets the knockout from the ruck for Dandenong, gets it down towards Coventry. Coventry gets himself out of a bit of trouble then towards the centre forward zone. Hall comes out. Demetrio's the player who's playing well on the back line for Port Melbourne. Got it down towards Christo, who hand passes under a bit of pressure. Moving in his Cousins. Cousins scoops it out this time to be taken by Townsend. He's put it high in the air. Big mark wanted off the hands of the pack, and it'll bowl through for another behind. So that takes Dandenong on to 7-3, 45, with Port Melbourne 9-7-61. Port Melbourne gaining the upper hand here in the second quarter as Hall goes for the kick-off. Not a good kick-off either. Comes out towards the boundary line and doing the blind turn as Evans. Under pressure gets the pass into Christo. Christo now with a further hand pass, and this will be Doyle to break away. Gets a kick in towards the wing on the outer side of the ground. Players going down, but moving out here is Wallace. Wallace with a pass. Moving in to intercept it was Kavanagh, who was tripped, and Kavanagh gets the free. So Kavanagh with his kick towards that centre forward zone. Out moves Biffin. Here's the chance now for Cook, but he couldn't get to the ball. It's Peter Knight who picked it up. And he gets it away, Stephen Knight it is, for Dandenong towards the half-back line on the stand side of the ground. Racing around is Madden, gets the kick towards the wing. Here's the big fellow, Annanson moving in. Madden tried to trap it again as it went over the line. So here we are in the second quarter, 13 minutes in. And Port Melbourne on top, but only just at the moment as it comes back in once again. Woodman getting the big knockout from the ruck, but to no avail because he puts it straight into the hands of Dermott. Down towards Wilkinson. Wilkinson with a further hand pass across here towards Dermott running on. Dermott up towards the centre forward zone. Moving in there's Grant O'Reilly, but it's a pick up by Biffin. Biffin around the wing on the stand side. There's two Dandenong players, and Woodman is the player allowed to come in and take the mark. So Woodman from the half-back line needs a lead from upfield. Then kicks it towards the pack that's formed, and it was Orton coming in to take the big mark. Orton has the lead. He plays it across here towards his teammate in Townsend. Townsend under pressure up towards Dino Ross. He'll take the mark very, very close to the boundary line. He's kicking it back downfield. Oh, he's kicked it far too far. And this allows Bradbury to move into it, to pick up by Orton, who shoots for goal. And Orton, I think, has put it through for another one to Dandenong.
A new force is here. Retrovision. Appliance power.
53-centimetre deep image TV with 4-year guarantee, $588. 48-centimetre model, $515. Stand extra. 2 80-litre compact Frigidaire, $558. 3 90-litre deluxe, $895 now at Retrovision.
Retrovision. Appliance power.
There's a store near you.
Right, 10 points the difference at the present time. Dandenong 8-3, Port Melbourne 9-7. Rob.
That goal by Orton was his second, and now we're exactly 14 minutes into the second quarter. Now leading in the race for the ball is the Bradbury for Port Melbourne. There's the kick now going down to the half-forward flank position, and leading out and taking the mark is McConnell. McConnell on the half-back flank for Dandenong. The margin exactly 10 points. Oh, a big high kick there. Geelong West 41, leading Frankston 25. Bit of a turn up there in that game. Back to the action. It's on the wing position, and it's Annanson who takes the ball there on the wing position through Bradbury. Will go forward, but there's been an infringement, and Vic Annanson not too happy about that at all, as he
He indicated he was shepherding, Rob.
Yes. And using some interesting expressions there, I would suggest to Brian Oakley, probably a good thing we haven't got the umpire's microphone, and a great mark there, towering mark to Woodman. Dandenong desperate for a goal. They trail by 10 points at the moment. A big kick right down into the teeth of goal. Players come out. It's thumped down to the ground. Evans comes through, weaves his way around an opponent. There's his kick now, going towards the boundary line. Cousins it is who captures it just in time. He'll put the ball back into the scoring zone. Big pack of players there. Up they go. It's thumped down. Grabbed now by Townsend. Can't get his boot to the ball in time. And now it's Port Melbourne who will defend through Demetrio. Demetrio goes for a run, a short kick, sees a teammate out there in Wilkinson. He can't get to the ball first, and the ball has been paid to Coventry, a mark right in front of the Norm Goss stand. Coventry now for Dandenong. Kicks the ball down, and leading out is Demetrio. He's too far under the ball, almost a good mark to right. Now it's an opportunity for Orton to come through. He loses possession of the ball, and again it's Demetrio who defends desperately for Port Melbourne. Wilkinson across to Evans. Evans going for a bit of a run, just gets his handball in time to Wilkinson. He slips over at the crucial moment. Oh, a lot of mistakes creeping into this game now as players are very desperate. And the ball will be bounced on the wing position on the outer side of the ground.
It's a pity, Rob, that some of these players wouldn't learn to kick the ball instead of handballing at those occasions.
Well, now the ball bounced once again, and umpire Oakley is saying there's a free kick. And I don't know whether he's decided to give this to Vic Anderson after Vic's demonstration earlier, but he has it anyway. So there goes the kick up towards the centre half forward zone. A little bit of jostling going on. Moving into it here for Dandenong was McConnell. McConnell can't get away. He goes across to O'Reilly. Davis brought down to the ground. And look at the mistakes being made here. Cook on hands and knees trying to get the ball. Being tackled there rather solidly by Biffin. But the umpire has decided to ball it up again. So it's not far out from the Port Melbourne goals. And there's Grant O'Reilly getting high, but kicked away there by Biffin of Dandenong. Gets it through to Tonks. Tonks with a good bit of speed. Arches the back to get away. He plays it around the outer wing position. Players move in on it. Doyle trying to handle it. Goes to the boundary line and tackled over. Entertaining game, this one, as we have... well, let's look at this one first of all. Preston right on top of Prahran. But Port Melbourne 61, Dandenong 51, 10 points the difference. Christo towards Evans. Evans didn't have the ball bounce well for him. And Dandenong players are doing well the way they're throwing themselves into the game. And that's got to be a free kick here. And it will be taken for Port Melbourne. Player taking it, of course, is Doyle. With his kick dropping short of the half-forward line. The bounce eludes several players. Comes back to O'Reilly, who ducked the head as he tried to come into it. Cousins now with the hand pass across to Wallace. Wallace now from the centre up towards Orton, but it bounces away from Orton to allow Hall to come in and get the push in the back against Orton. Orton's been playing well, but for all the good things he's done, he's been doing a bad one at the same time. He's given a lot of frees away. As it comes through towards now Hall getting his kick in towards that centre. Wallace goes over the ball. Evans now passes it up towards Swan, who's been a good kick getter. Swan towards Davis, and Davis going down to ground takes the mark. That was his 15th kick.
This player Davis is a very handy player around goals, Phil, from half forward to the goals.
He's kicked 2-1-10, so he's done a pretty good job here. And has the chance to put them further ahead, up to 16 points ahead, if he can put this through. And there's no mistake about it. It's another goal up to Port Melbourne. They go on to 10 goals 7, and Dandenong 8 goals 3. Looking at the replay, Ted.
Yes, and there's the player who said Wallace, and Evans coming up behind him, Phil, and he'll get that ball out now to Billy Swan. Good thinking, quick play, and Davis leading across in front of Fred Cook now. Takes that one from Billy Swan.
All right, breaking on the bounce of the ball again. Here's Bill.
10-7 to 8-3 is indicative of what's taking place here at Port Melbourne. Dandenong lifted in desperation at the 15-minute mark. That's why there were a few extra mistakes, but their desperation was good to see. And the umpire's going to repeat the exercise here and bounce the ball again at centre field. Putting it down. Ross in there, and Ross won the duel. Madden pushed it a little bit further. But it's Port Melbourne repulsing through Bradbury. Bradbury into the centre of the ground. Oh. Well, that was a throw. Cousins. That was as blatant a throw as you'd see. Coburg 8-8 to Brunswick 7-4 is an interesting game. Coburg just leading. That's Dermott taking it away for Port Melbourne. Over to Davis, and there it is, another mark to the half-forward flanker. 10 goals 7 to 8 goals 3. Port Melbourne leading. He's kicked 3 goals. And the angle is quite acute for this one. If he's to be successful from 35 to 40 metres out. Allowed for the breeze, but a drop through for one behind. And it takes Port Melbourne on to 10-8-68, leading Dandenong 8-3-51, still in the flight.
There's a mark there, taken by Davis. As I said before, a very valuable player on that forward line.
The ball to come back into play through Biffin, up to the line and going straight down towards the centre of the ground. Knocked away. Chance in here for Swan. McConnell also for Dandenong. But it's going to be taken away by Kavanagh. Over towards Evans. Madden doing pretty well now for Dandenong. Gets it out to centre wing. Townsend leading in the race for the ball and obtaining it at centre wing. Nobody very much at home at half forward. Eventually bouncing the way of Doyle and Hall. And Hoyle will do it well. Long handball, that one, to Dermott. Dermott at half-back flank to Evans, and Evans has taken the mark. And there's something going on behind play as Port Melbourne keep on going into attack up towards their half-forward line. Hits the turf, and Knight will take it away. That is Stephen Knight to centre wing. 10-8 to 8-3, Port leading. Townsend handball across to Knight, once again to Stephen Knight, into centre half forward to find Orozco. Orozco to Calry. Calry turning and shooting for goal, and I think he's popped it through for 4 points.
The first Hutton's footy book is out now. It's the complete 1981 footy book. 118 action-packed pages, pen picks of players, bags of colour photos, club histories, games, quizzes, puzzles, premiership winners, medal winners. You'll be a winner with your Hutton's footy book. Plus, there's 8 pages for full colour stickers of your favourite players. And there's a sticker in every pack of famous Hutton's footy franks. Your Hutton's footy book is available now, wherever Mum buys her Hutton's footy franks, or at booksellers and newsagents.
There is much more going on at this ground than football, I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, have a look at this, Bill. That's what the cheering's
I don't want to
about.
look at that sort of thing. I want to watch the football.
I want to watch that sort of thing.
Kavanagh was the Port Melbourne player, number 40, sprawling all over the ground. Probably distracted by what we were talking about.
And Ebayer is on the ground, and Evans is off for Port Melbourne.
Well, here's the ball going to attack, and for Dandenong, and it's Ross taking the mark at centre half forward. Scoreboard 10-8 to 9-3. With Port Melbourne leading and Dandenong still well and truly in this game. A long kick by Ross. Woodman's their best bet, number 1 from behind, but you don't mark them from behind as a general rule over an opponent the same size as yourself. 23 minutes into the term, and it's Port Melbourne 10-8 to Dandenong 9-3. Woodman getting it down. John Christo taking it out for Port Melbourne, but the player's been tripped, and that is John Christo in the back pocket. 10-8 to 9-3.
Ellison on the ground there, notice too, Bill, for Dandenong.
From John Christo down towards centre half forward. Cook has come up onto the ball again. Christo's got to go in and obtain possession for Port Melbourne once more. His hand pass was nullified. Cook, quick to pick up, has kicked across to the centre wing, and it's Wilkinson's mark.
Righto, and Wilkinson now from right in front of the Port Melbourne stand, but the umpire has given a free kick out here.
It's like Madden, is it?
He's given it to... yes, I think it could be Madden, Ted, but did you see what it was for?
I did not see the incident. I was looking at Ellison, actually, the player down there before.
Well, one of the cameramen said it was a push in the back, and we have a free kick now being awarded here to Port Melbourne, to Demetrio. Demetrio down the wing position on the stand side of the ground. There's a push in the back, and the umpire will give the throw. Clear indication from the umpire. Wilkinson pushed in the back. And he's got the chance now to put Ports into attack. He sends it across towards the centre of the ground. Up they rise for it, pushed away, and that looks like little Abayer on the ground too for Port Melbourne at the moment. They come in over the top of it. There's the 2 smallest players on the ground having a tangle as Allison gets his kick in towards Lou Wright, punched away from him, and it's John Christo trying to get it away, pushed away here by Hall, and eventually Swan gets it through to Dermott. Dermott now going right downfield with the ball. No one able to tackle him. He can steady, put it on its way, but it's wide, and it'll go straight into the hands down here of the little fellow Peter Cousins, isn't it? Or Tonks. Tonks of Dandenong. Tonks with his kick onto the half-back line, looking for Dino Ross. Ross taps it on, and Callery in the race for the ball. Can stop then to get the bounce. Gets in the middle of players, gets a hand pass in and puts it straight back in the hands of Wilkinson, who gets it across to Doyle. Doyle now up towards that half-forward line, and it's Christo gaining possession, playing a good game, gets away with it, gets the hand pass across to Kavanagh. Kavanagh now across towards that centre-forward zone. This is dangerous. Anderson getting rid of the ball. The umpire blowing the whistle now, says holding the ball. And the free goal. Bang. Bang again. Anderson. I don't think I'd throw one here. There. I wouldn't throw one against Big Vic at any stage. Anyway, players gone on. And there's Allison with possession now, just coming on as the interchange. And Allison now playing it straight into the hands of his teammate and Glenn Townsend. So Townsend a fair way out from goal, but will go for the long kick. Puts it high in the air to give the fellows down forward the chance to take the mark, but it was the opposition taking it in Demetrio. Demetrio's playing a great game and kicked it straight into the player running through, but the umpire says he was too far over the mark and applies the 15-metre penalty to make Demetrio kick over the mark. Demetrio's decided to go back, and he's decided rather than go around the flank, try the direct line towards the centre. There's Fred Cook up there. Cook goes for the hand pass, gets it across to Dermott. Dermott pops one right around the chops, and he'll get the free kick. So Dermott passes it backwards to Swan, and Swan now with the long kick downfield, and look, making position down here was O'Reilly, fails to take the mark. Moving in is Peter Tonks. Tonks plays it wide. Wallace goes in. This is dangerous with Jim Christo coming into it, but it's forced over the line and out of bounds at the 27-minute mark into the second quarter. Rob.
Nothing in this game, Phil. 11 points the difference. That's just 2 kicks. And it's on the forward pocket, forward flank position for Port Melbourne. There's the ball now being defended by Allison for Dandenong, and taking the ruck is Harasco. Harasco on the wing position, kicks the ball back towards the centre half forward. The wind holding the ball up. Ball knocked away from right. Gives Bayer the chance. He's come onto the ground as the interchange player. Dermott takes it now, has a bit of a look, then decides to handball it to Bradbury, puts him under a lot of pressure, and they're lucky to get out of it on this occasion. Going forward through Doyle, sees Davis down there all by himself. He fumbles the ball and is caught close to the boundary line. Play on, says the umpire. Look at him going in here. Play on again, says the umpire. Christo kicks it across. Good play there as Kavanagh takes the ball right across the face of goal and marked in the forward pocket for Port Melbourne by Anderson. Graham Anderson been a good player for Port Melbourne today. He already has 1 goal too, a very acute angle here. It goes for the short pass, touched. Anderson takes the ball, but the umpire says all clear and through for full points to Port Melbourne, a valuable goal.
Clive Peters, the discount wizard, has hopped into the betting business in a big way. And to celebrate the good news, the wizard's working his magic with a full range of Sealy bedding, including the famous Sealy Posturepedic. And for openers, Clive Peters is offering this Sealy Golden Slumber double bed ensemble for just $249.
Save now at your nearest Clive Peters Sleep Centre.
Olympic Tyre scoreboard has Port Melbourne 11 goals 8, 74, leading Dandenong 9-3-57. Back to the action in the centre of the ground. Freddie Cook, who's been moved away from full forward. The umpire, though, has found a kick, and it's going to go to Kavanagh by the looks of it. Yes, Kavanagh moving back, and the umpire paying a 15-metre penalty also. Kavanagh takes the kick. Oh, a big driving punt kick right down towards the scoring zone for Port Melbourne. Thump down to the ground. Players throwing themselves in, trying to get possession. There's a handball, gives the opportunity for Jim Christo to come through. He handballs back over his head to Vic Anderson. Oh, look at him going in there. Umpire has found a kick on that occasion, and it will go to Vic Anderson. Well, probably a good thing he wasn't collected there, because I don't think he'd be walking back like he is at the moment.
Takes a lot to hurt Big Vic, Rob.
I wouldn't like to make him angry either, Ted. Already has 2 goals as the siren sounds. Let's see if he can make it 3. Nothing in this game as the halftime siren sounds. Vic Anderson moving in now. There's the kick. Umpire moves across. It's going to be close. 1 behind only.
Right, very close, Rob. As we have the score now, Port Melbourne moving on to 11-9-75, and Dandenong remain at 9-3-57. Bill Jacobs.
Well, there's 18 points difference in the game, and it favours Port Melbourne, and that's a fair reflection on the fare that's been served here this afternoon, which must be satisfying not only to the spectators here, but to the many watching the game from the comfort of their lounge chairs. Dandenong's need is pretty simple. They need 2 Ray Biffins because they're breaking down up at full forward. And they can't have 2 of them, so the logical thing to do is give some consideration to Ray Biffin playing at full forward next quarter. Now, to do that, you've got to have somebody to take his place, and I would suggest that Heap could probably go to full back and allow Biffin to try himself at full forward. He's played the position, they're breaking down there, and I think that's the difference between the 2 teams, which has been decided, which is 18 points. And the breaking down on that full forward line is Dandenong's problem at the moment. Otherwise, they're breaking even all over the field.
Well, what do you think of that suggestion, Ted?
Well, it's probably quite a good suggestion, but I don't think that's not the only reason why Dandenong are falling down. The fact that they've got no one up at forward, I think their smaller men are not playing as well as Port Melbourne's, and I think this is the key to the game. Adamson's added a lot more strength. Ross seems to be fading slightly out of the game, as he's done on other occasions, but I feel the dominance, particularly of Jim Christo, Bill Swan in the middle, and Eber coming onto the ground now. We'll find he'll do a similar thing, and also Evans, who went off the ground for Eber. Those players, I felt, have given Port Melbourne the opportunities, and they've got Davis down in that pocket. Cook is getting beaten down there today, but Davis is doing the job for him, as well as shifting Biffin the full forward. I think, Phil, they have to get a lot more life out of their rovers, including Paul Callery.
Yes, although he's got 3 goals, Callery, he doesn't appear to have done over much there, Ted. But I feel that Port Melbourne is starting to get that confidence back again. They seem to be lacking confidence for the first half of the first quarter, and they look as though they're starting to get it back, and the players expected to do well are starting to do well. Cook needs to do a bit more, I'd say, at full forward. Biffin has certainly been winning at full back, as I said. And I go along a bit with that suggestion of Bill's, that Biffin could probably go to full forward and do a lot of good up in that area to try and lift the forward line. There's nothing wrong with the desperation of the Dandenong players. They're going in hard.
Then Cook will come into the game at full forward for
Port. Yeah, so what do, you know? All right, Ian, statistics on the game.
Dandenong were a bit fortunate in that quarter with Port Melbourne's inaccuracy. Port Melbourne had 9 scoring shots to Dandenong 4, and they kicked 4 goals 5 to Dandenong's 2 goals 2. Port Melbourne kick getters, Swan, the biggest kick getter on the ground with 17 kicks. Jim Christo 9, Demetrio strong in defence with 9. Jim Christo 3 kicks and 9 hand passes, a total of 14 possessions, and Kavanagh playing well with 11 kicks. Dandenong kick getters, Orton 8, Coventry 8, and Tonk strong in defence with 8. And Biffin has still only had 1 goal kicked against him up till half-time. Port Melbourne goal kickers, 3 to Davis, 2 each to Swan and Anderson, and 1 each to Wilkinson, Evans, Anderson and O'Reilly. And for Dandenong, 3 to Callery, and 2 each to Wright and Orton, and 1 each to Ross and Woodman.
Well, there you have the half-time scores in the game. Port Melbourne 11-9, 75, leading Dandenong 9-3, 57.
Have you checked the prices of new colour TVs and hi-fi systems lately? Yes, I know. But fortunately, Instant TV Rentals have a better idea. A top-quality hi-fi system like this from just $4 per week. Or from as little as $3 per week, a top-name colour TV. Instant TV Rentals for hi-fi from $4 per week. Colour TV from just $3 per week. Ring now for a free home demonstration today.
Each to Ross and Woodman.
Well, there you have the half-time scores in the game. Port Melbourne 11-9, 75, leading Dandenong 9-3, 57.
Have you checked the prices of new colour TVs and hi-fi systems lately? Yes, I know. But fortunately, Instant TV Rentals have a better idea. A top-quality hi-fi system like this from just $4 per week. Or from as little as $3 per week, a top-name colour TV. Instant TV Rentals for hi-fi from $4 per week. Colour TV from just $3 per week. Ring now for a free home demonstration today. 873-3066.
Still radio. Climb. 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 Climb.
second. Third then in black is Laurie Pope, and he's followed closely by Les White, who's making an effort. He's going up in the green to be third, followed by Bill Hedger, who's steadily gaining ground. Ellen Clare behind them, followed by John Helly, and further back then is Colin Barnard, and dropping out of it next is Cole Wilkinson. Down the back with about 200 metres left to go, and the battle is on now. Les White takes the lead. Here comes Bill Hedger and the white in hot pursuit as they come round towards the home turn. Les White tackled by Bill Hedger, about 3 metres to Trevor Keeler. Then Laurie Pope, and a good way back is Ellen Clare as they round the home turn. Bill Hedger showing just in front of Trevor Keeler, followed by Les White, and then Laurie Pope as they turn into the home straight with 100 metres left to go. Bill Hedger tackled again by Trevor Keeler. Trevor Keeler on the outside, and Bill Hedger. Trevor Keeler's taken a slight lead from Bill Hedger, battling on. Trevor Keeler just in front. He's increasing his lead, and Trevor Keeler goes through to take out round 8 of the Dandy Dollar 1000, about a metre clear of Bill Hedger, with Laurie Pope in third place. Stand by for the official result, and a well-judged race by Trevor Keeler. Time? 2:37.90. 2:37.90 was the time, and the official placings were Trevor Keeler from 44 metres first, and we're going to have a chat now with Rob Asprey speaking to the winner, Trevor Keeler.
Well, congratulations, Trevor. That was a very good performance.
Thanks, Rob. I was pretty pleased.
You really had trouble there with Bill. We're looking at the replay now, in fact, and coming around that turn, it looked as if you might have been in trouble.
Yeah, I was. I thought I'd try and hang on and hope that he sort of got tired. He might have been pulling my leg a bit, and he did fade a bit, which I was fortunate.
A very strong finish for you as we see you go across the line. All right, well, we have Bing Hanrahan here from Dandy Dollars. I bet you're glad to see Bing.
I am too, yeah.
$85, Bing.
That's right. Congratulations, Kevin. And I'd like to present you with Trevor with a winner's sash, together with our Super Savings Passbook with your prize money.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Trevor.
How was the time, Kevin?
2:37.9, and on this track it's got a bit of mud in the first 100 metres through the finishing line. That's not too bad.
Thanks very much, Kevin, and thank you to Trevor. Congratulations on a very good performance. And here again is John Russell.
Right, thank you, Rob. And the result of the Dandy Dollar 1000 round 8 sees Trevor Keeler first from 44, Bill Hedger second from 30, Laurie Pope third from 44, Wes Barrett fourth of 44 in the time of 2:37.90. And we turn our attention to round 8 of the Dandy Dollar Dash. And here's the field. In the red, it's Howard Stair from 24, white David Hanlon running off 30, in the blue Wayne Kretschmer off 30, in the yellow Michael Parks 34, the green is Rod Cameron 36, in pink Bob Linky from 36, black Doug Howie 42, Bob Pools in brown from 42, Peter Gould in purple from 46, and Bruce Copeland in the grey 50. Sid Jackson, our starter, has the runners down and set to go. Off they go, and it was Copeland leading the way early from Gould running second, and going very quickly then in the brown is Bob Poole to be third. He's followed by Doug Howie. Then there's a break to Bob Linky running in pink, and coming around the very quickly is Michael Parks in the yellow. Further back then came Rod Cameron, a good way back in the field, to David Hanlon, who's next to last, and Howard Stair in the red is last of all. They're going hard in the lead, coming up towards the home turn with about 180 metres left to go. And it's Peter Gould striding clear. He has a nice break of about 2 metres in advance of Bob Poole. 3 metres further back is Doug Howie as they make the home turn. And Wayne Kretschmer in the blue starting to come into the picture. And further back is Bob Linky as they make the home turn. Bob Poole's taken the lead. Doug Howie. Wayne Kretschmer coming home well, so is Bob Linky. And Howard Stair is flying in the red down the outside. Bob Poole tackled by Doug Howie. Doug Howie and Bob Poole, and they go through. Oh, gee, it might be Howie from Poole and Kretschmer in a tight go in round 8 of the Dandy Dollar Dash. Not much in this. Doug Howie, I think, has just taken it out in advance of Bob Poole. Time 48.09. 48.09 the time.
We've got him all right, Bob. Doug Howie. Doug, you're upset. You wanted to go and get your teeth, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I wouldn't be worried about my teeth after a performance like that, but it was very tight. We're having a look at the replay now. What were your feelings coming up the straight?
Well, I didn't think I'd win it.
You didn't?
No. But of course, I'm elated I have.
I'm sure you are.
Yes.
And of course, to help, Bing Hanrahan has for us $85 from Dandy Dollar Savings, plus the beautiful green sash.
I appreciate it very much.
What are you going to do with the $85?
Well, I think I'll
You get the big one
start off and see what I can build on it.
All right, congratulations. A very good effort. And we have a little helper here today. Come over here, sweetheart, quick. This is, we'll just lift her up. This is little Paige Hanrahan, and being Hanrahan's son, Phil, you can probably see it. Are you enjoying the footy today?
Yes.
Yes. It's only one problem. You can't listen to Phil at home, can you? You know Uncle Phil up there? We'll be going back to him in a moment. Anyway, that's Paige Hanrahan. Back to John Russell now. That just about completes things here for Dandy Dollar Savings.
Right, thank you very much, Rob. And here's the official result of the 8th round of the Dandy Dollar Dash. The winner was Doug Howie from 42, second Bob Poole from 42, third Wayne Kretschmer from 30, and fourth Michael Parks of 34 in the time of 48.9, and now 48.09, and now it's back to Philip Gibbs at the commentary position. All yours, Phil.
Okay, thank you, John Russell of 3UZ. Back from that long service leave, I think it was. It had to be anyway, over 5 weeks. But the scores, Port Melbourne 11.975, leading Dandenong 9.357.
And the Dandy Dollar Dash is sponsored by Dandy Dollar Savings.
Who else would develop a super savings passbook with increasing interest rates? So the more money you plant in it, the higher the interest grows. Under $5,000 and you earn 10%. From there to $10,000, 11% on the lot. From there to $20,000, 13% on the lot. And over $20,000, 13.5% again on the lot. That's the super savings passbook from Dandy Dollar Savings. Who else?
All right, we have the Port Melbourne side out on the ground waiting on Dandenong. And progressive scores, Coburg 79, leading Brunswick 53. Paran are down, Preston 11.11.77, Paran 7.6.48. And then we have Geelong West 54, leading Frankston 37. We have 3 slow-flying aircraft going overhead here too. They look like... yeah, they look like the old DC-3s. They are. Well, I didn't know we had 3 left flying around. But there's another one, a much faster one, out wider than these. And they've been flying around for quite a while as we go through the progressive scores. An interesting game there between Box Hill and Yarraville. A little bit of nostalgia up in the air there, Bill.
Yes, trip on one of those to Sydney once was long enough to have a couple, wasn't it?
Well, I came over from Tasmania on one of those when they were first built.
Yeah.
Anyway, my wife was a host.
That long ago.
Yeah.
I flew from the Philippines to Biak in one of those too.
You got there?
And got back.
Okay. All right. Well, the Port Melbourne side are on the ground. It's going to take a while to clear the ground here, so we'll take this break.
Tonight, Magnum's in love, and that means he's in trouble. Trying to protect a beautiful Chinese girl, Tom Magnum comes face to face with a tattooed Tong warrior who's as graceful as a dancer and deadly as a tank. Don't miss the series premiere of Magnum P.I., a Hellraiser in Paradise, 7:30 tonight, here on 10.
They got him up in Rocky, got him out at Burke, got him up in Darwin, you wanna see him work. They come flying out from Moe, a phone call to the bloke, he's in his truck and moving for a measure and a quote.
What makes more Australians get behind B&D Roller Door? The centre lift lock, the Nylufelt running strip, the range of Colorbond, Timberbond and Marby plate finishes, or the solid steel security?
Locking up in Perth, rolling down in Adelaide, they've all got central locking, you really got it made.
Or what about B&D Controller Door? Press the button and drive right in the dark or in a downpour or any time at all.
Like early down in Puma, Cyril and his son have made their reputation on Australia's number one. Australia's number one.
Well, let's mention once again our Best Player Award, and the Best Player for today will receive the Seedle products and the $50 in cash. Also, the Puma boots with the Puma bag. And, of course, we see a lot of Puma boots around on the field here today. And then the Mark of the Day, the winner of that will receive $50 in cash today with the Gillette products. And also at the end of the season, the winner will receive the $1,000 in cash judged by a panel of experts.
Well, Biffin hasn't gone to full forward, Phil, but Harasco has. down
All
there.
right, Bill, and just looking at the free kick situation there, Ian, is quite interesting.
Port Melbourne have 30 free kicks up to half-time and Dandenong 19.
And there's the goal umpire moving upfield. I think it might be our cable on the field down here with the camera. It is not that. Although we have assisting here some of the couple of the Port Melbourne trainers. So we're right. Well, he didn't go up there to say it's a nice day, but we don't know what it was for.
Oh, I think it was for that, Phil. I think the policeman told the goal umpire and the goal umpire told the central umpire.
Righto, now we're just waiting on the bounce, and there it goes. And it's Anderson getting the knockout from the ruck, and moving in here was Madden. The umpire blows the whistle and says it's mine, and it will be a ball up. So umpire Brian Oakley. And there we go. It's Anderson now getting it away from Dino Ross. Gets the hand pass into Abaya. Abaya spears it towards the goals, and he's put it through. Cook led the full-back out then, and that was Biffin.
He's a generous man, King Billy Guide. Wouldn't let a loyal subject freeze. I got this Tresco space heater at just $158. His royal wonderfulness has decreed to... So Simpson dryers are only convertible. Only tonight.
And it's driven through, this time by Rod Allison, the interchange player of Dandenong. Well, they needed that goal desperately, Dandenong. That takes them now to 10-3, keeps them within striking distance of Port Melbourne, 12 goals, 9. Let's have a look and see how it all happened again.
There's Dermott with the ball, Phil, and he was held by Calloway. Holding the ball was the decision.
Yep, for sure. For sure. Ted, okay. Umpire Murray Stab, and it bounces wide, and Anderson gets the knock eventually. Baya's in there, but umpire Brian Oakley now says it will be a ball up, and this is just wide of the centre, favouring the stand side of the ground. Dino Ross getting the knockout, trying to burst his way through as Peter Cousins. He gets it through towards Orton, who couldn't get away. And the big fellows are all on the ground as we have umpire Brian Oakley getting ready for the bounce again. Here goes the bounce. And it's Ross getting the knockout, but little Abaya scouting around. Plays it up towards Davis, and Davis went right into that. Just got it above the ground to take the mark. Oh, he went for the hand pass. Not good play then. He shoots it across the centre half forward. Touched by the Dandenong player Coventry as he tried to get away. A hand pass back here. Kavanagh tries to get away, gets it across towards Jim Christo, who shoots for goal, and he's put it through for another one for Port Melbourne.
You got dreams for me, dreams for me. You're gonna make such a mighty team with it, and you'll be proud, proud to put your name on a Mazda.
Mazda Easy Loaders let you load more and load it more easily because the wheels are under the floor where they belong. You'll be proud to put your name on a Mazda.
Well, Port Melbourne 87-63, and an entertaining game as we see Madden gaining possession for Dandenong. Doyle is the player to get it. He plays it wide. Wilkinson, they've got it on a string here now, Port Melbourne. As Wilkinson gains possession, shoots it up here towards Christo, and Christo, using a bit of pace, will get the free now as he gets the push in the back against Peter Cousins of Dandenong. Oh, stupid thing by Cousins. You know, Cousins going up and showing the umpire something on his shoulder, but you don't do that. That's a lack of discipline and experience.
There's a lack of discipline. Obviously, the pace he threw that back at Christo, he was hoping that Christo would miss it, but claimed to the umpire that it just grazed Christo's shoulder.
All right, Christo now with the kick on its way. It'll drop fractionally short off the hands of the pack. Ducking his head was Grant O'Reilly, got a push in the back of the neck to go on with, trying to get away is Heap. Heap gets the pass in, and it'll be Allison to take it away round the half-back line, and it'll be a mark taken by Brian Madden. Up towards the wing on the outer side of the ground. Doyle was the player, tried to juggle it. The umpire says it was touched, and he's come in, I think, for a ball up. So umpire Brian Oakley for the bounce, Bill Jacobs.
Ground bathed in sunshine at the moment. It's beautiful. 6.5 minutes into the term, and it'll come out to Dermott. And Dermott from centre wing boots towards centre half forward. Looking for O'Reilly and finding that player. Sticky fingers O'Reilly, a good mark. Left foot looking for Cook, but you won't get it from there. And well played, Ray Biffin. Well played, Biffin at full-back, repulsing that attack. Out to the half-back flank and looking over there and finding Coventry. Coventry at half-back flank. 6.5 minutes into the term, and Dandenong desperate to get points, goals, but this attack is turned back by John Christo. Christo is up to the centre of the ground, or thereabouts, centre wing, in towards centre half forward with his kick, reaching high. Davis to get it out, a little bit too long, but he got the hand pass for Obeya to get the run at the ball, and Obeya has shot offline, and the goal umpire signifies that it's 1 point to Port Melbourne, and they move on to 13-10 to 10 goals 3. 13-10, 88 to 10-3, 63. Biffin up to the line, getting it into play quickly and finding his rover once again, Coventry, who's got clear for space of time, and Coventry's at half-back flank. 7 minutes into the term, 13-10 to 10-3 on the Olympic Tyres scoreboard, but Port Melbourne going back into attack from Swan to Bradbury. Bradbury has the luxury of a bounce and boots to the forward pocket area, and coming out is O'Reilly. There's no better grab in association football than this fellow. Possibly Hunt, but no firmer than O'Reilly. He's kicked 1 goal 2, and Port Melbourne have kicked 13-10. O'Reilly from a half-forward flank area, tending to get into forward pocket, and his kicker's got distance but not direction and through for another point, and Porter on to 13-11-89, and Dandenong struggling a little bit now on 10-3-63. They're finding it hard to bridge the gap, and would you believe, I thought Calry was about to kick in, and he threw it back to Biffin. Biffin to Calry as handball out of the back line. Calry further to Tonks, who's played pretty well. Back to Calry, and they get out of defence into attack up towards the centre of the ground. Should have been a mark to Madden. Obeya in there doing it for Port Melbourne. Chopped off by Madden, playing useful football. Centre wing as he goes forward, and Dandenong going to attack through Madden. Madden to a lead up, but it was well astray from Cousins, well astray, and it allowed Demetrio to come in and take the mark. Immediately to Swan, dominating the centre, marking and breaking clear quickly, breaking towards the outer flank, losing the run of it temporarily, but recovering quickly to get the ball across to centre half forward, and Anderson should have raked it in, didn't. This will allow Wallace to come in, and he kicks off the turf over towards the boundary line, and the boundary umpire does the rest. So at 9 minutes into the term in this attractive game of football, it's Port Melbourne 13-11 to Dandenong 10-3. And at centre wing, Annanson out of the pack. Calry will get the free kick. Calry's at centre wing. Dandenong need goals, and they need them quickly. as we hit the 10-minute mark.
And they did this player playing even better than what he's playing. He started to pick up a bit since half-time. That's Calorie, Bill. If he can get on top, it'll bring him back into it.
He's running a bit more, Ted, isn't he?
Yes.
Well, Calorie's at centre wing, not running at the moment, as you can see, and now comes up to deliver the ball over towards the centre of the ground. High at the back was Dermott, thumping it down. Townsend out of the pack, looked for Stephen Knight, missed him, but backs up himself under the left foot to boot the centre half forward. In defence, it was Hall thumping away over towards the half-back flank, and there we'll find Wilkinson, handball to Dermott. Dermott slung it out then. Anyway, over to Bradbury, and Bradbury's handball will find Christo. John Christo up to the centre wing position, and Evans booting Port into attack. It's going to be stopped off and chopped off by Wallace. Too slow. And the umpire has found a free kick, and a little lucky to get out of that, Dandenong. A little slow, but Wallace comes up from the pack with a free kick. Over towards Calry, who's scouting the ground well now, and the little fellow takes the mark. Handball quickly across there to Woodman. Woodman's hand pass to Madden. Madden streaming downfield, and whistles blowing everywhere. Boundary umpire, field umpire, and the kick goes downfield. Downfield, and Dandenong into attack, over towards full forward, knocked to the ground. Port Melbourne through Dermott will come out of defence, and eventually to Swan. Swan upfield to Bradbury. Bradbury's got the run at the ball, goes to the ground, lost it temporarily to McConnell, and he's picked up to drive Dandenong into attack to the half-forward line, deeper still into the forward pocket, and the mark is taken by Cousins. 10.5, 11 minutes, if that clock is right, into the third quarter, and it's 13-11 Port Melbourne to 10-3. Accurate kicking by Dandenong.
Okay, Bill, and now, as you said, it's Cousins lining them up. And this is the one Dandenong need to hold them in it. And he's allowed too much for the wind, and he's put it through for one behind. That takes Dandenong on to 10-4, which is pretty good kicking, 64, as against Port Melbourne's 13-11, a total of 89. Hall preparing for the kick-off when the ball's returned to him. And Port Melbourne, I would say, pretty confident now. As Hall goes for the short pass towards John Christo. There's a lot of mistakes being made in this game today, particularly by Dandenong, mishandling the ball, scragging players, as Abaya ends up with possession from Annanson. Abaya plays it down towards the pocket position. Players move back on it, trying to take a one-hander here was Heap. Heap gains possession of the ball and then plays it around the flank position, and the mark will be taken by Woodland right on the wing. Woodland now hand passing across here towards Madden. Madden gets rid of it to Townsend. Townsend downfield, runs around his opponent, and then shoots for goal. And what's he done with it? He's put it through, but the umpire's holding up play down here. He's gone down to make sure it's gone through, and all clear now. Dandenong have scored the goal they need.
At RACV, we've dramatically cut premiums on comprehensive insurance for good drivers. And RACV offers the biggest insurance discounts for age of car. There are special new premiums for many popular cars like these, starting from $71. That's RACV's new Good Driver policy. So, good drivers, here's your big chance to save. If you're a good driver, phone RACV for a competitive quote. RACV. Nobody covers you better.
Well, Dandenong holding in there now, 19 points down, but now moving in on the ball was McConnell. He couldn't get away with it. Dandenong players getting a little more desperate now, but that's a push in the back, says the umpire. And the free kick to be taken by Bradbury. So Bradbury of Port over the centre line, up towards the half-forward line. There's Grant O'Reilly staying behind, and he pulls in the mark. O'Reilly now gets it across to Abaya. Abaya now getting away with those little short legs, gets his kick in out on the full, and the free kick will be taken by Ray Biffin. If he doesn't hand pass, of course. So Biffin has still only had the one goal kicked on him as he puts the ball on his way, looking for the big fellow in Woodman, and Woodman coming in nicely to take the mark in front of Vic Annanson. Woodman getting the hand pass in, gets it across to Wallace. Oh, a bit of slinging going on here between Annanson and Woodman. The player's gone on, and although the umpire blew the whistle, the other umpire must have called play on Murray Stab as it goes up into the right forward pocket, and it's gone over the line. Vic getting a bit niggly as he gets older there, Ted. Well, yes, it comes with age, Phil.
Right. It's passed, knocked down towards Calorie. There's Calorie getting offloaded. And Calorie staggering a bit too. Look at the size of him. He's kicked 3 goals and he's getting right into play again here in the third quarter. And Ian's just telling me it's his 5th kick this quarter. He's put it on its way, and I think he might have just put it through. No, for 1 point. It's the behind. So that wasn't a good shot for goal at all. And Dandenong go to 11-5, 71, with Port Melbourne on 13-11, 89. Rob Asprey.
A good game too, and that makes the difference. Just 3 straight kicks, 18 points on the Olympic Tyre scoreboard. There's a short pass. Dermot it is, who'll look for a player down the field. Taking the outer side of the ground, going very close to the boundary line, beating Wilkins over the line and out of bounds, right in front of the big grandstand. Wait for the throw in. It'll be Woodman opposed to Vic Annanson, the 2 big men. There's the throw in. It's Annanson who takes the ball. Play on, says the umpire, gets it out. The chance there for Knight to go forward gives Calorie the chance on the half forward flank. Short pass by Calorie, and just getting the ball in time is Harasco, who accepts the mark. Harasco on the half-forward flank, kicking into what would appear to be a breeze, although it's rather misleading. There's the kick now, right down towards the forward pocket position, going up high, and a beautiful mark. Would have to be a contender for the mark of the day.
Would be at this stage the Gillette mark of the day. He's hurt himself a bit. He's got the chance to win $50 for that one, plus the Gillette products. Let's have a look at it again. Oh, beautiful mark by Ross. See the way he grabbed that one, Ted.
That was a beautiful mark, Phil. No doubt about a serious contender for the Gillette mark of the day.
Yeah, but he's hurt the small of his back there. Look at him, Rob.
Yes, a very courageous effort there, Phil. And a lot of pressure now on Dean Ross, because this is an important goal for Dandenong. They trail by 18 points. This one will put them right back in the game. Dean Ross lining them up. Dean Ross moving in. There's his kick. The umpire moves across, and it's 4 points to Dandenong. They are in the game still.
DuPont present America's #1 premium car wax. Rain Dance, the one with a watertight guarantee. Guaranteed to shine longer, to bead water longer, to last longer than any other leading car wax. Or DuPont give you your money back. Rain Dance, the #1 premium car wax, guaranteed to shine longer, to bead water longer, to last longer. The Rain Dance guarantee is watertight. Available at Myer, all stores, selected Shell service stations, and all McEwen stores.
Port Melbourne 13-11-89, Dandenong 12-5-77 on the Olympic Tyre scoreboard. There's the bounce back in the centre of the ground. Woodman opposed to Fred Cook. Might have been Cook who got it down, but the umpire has decided to give the kick to Doyle. Doyle, the Port Melbourne player, will kick the ball right down towards centre half forward. The players setting themselves there. Coming from behind, a great mark to Davis. Davis, the player who's been doing big things in the reserves up until this week, given his opportunity for Port Melbourne, and certainly hasn't let the Borough down today. Has 3 goals too already. Davis moving in now. There's the kick. Certainly got the distance. Has it got the accuracy? No, it hasn't. 1 behind only. Port Melbourne now move on to 13 goals, 12-90, to Dandenong 12 goals, 5-77. And we've now played 18 minutes into the third quarter. 13 points, the margin now in this game, and an exciting game too. Evans it is who takes the front position, shows the initiative, but Allison it is who takes the ball, short pass up, tries to give it to Madden. Madden in a lot of pressure there as Wilkinson comes through, but taking the ball again is Allison. Allison having trouble picking it up, now he does. There's the kick in towards the centre of the ground. Calgary's there, but he's outpointed on this occasion, and the mark taken by Doyle with all the hair. Doyle kicks it over Calgary's head, right down. Annenson's there, coming through, trying to take the Marcus O'Reilly. There's the handball out. It'll give the opportunity for Wilkinson to come through. A short pass as Wilkinson gets it into the forward pocket to Davis. Davis across to Anderson. Anderson slams away towards goal, and a good angle goal. 4 points to Port Melbourne. That's his second.
Yes, and he did that particularly well, Rob, coming in towards goal. Just saw daylight between them, and you watch the way he brings this in, Ted.
Yes, brilliant by Graham Anderson. That wasn't the one. That was Calorie we saw with the ball then.
It went back a bit too far on that disc. Anyway, here we have Brian Oakley now. The umpire with the bounce. Ruckman set themselves. Cook got up to get the knockout from the ruck then, and look at the struggle going on as the umpire says that it will be a ball up once again. Still an interesting game as it's tapped wide. Anderson is the player to put it out towards Wilkinson. Wilkinson now traps the ball well, plays it right over the heads of the forwards, on its way, and it's gone through for 1 point. But fortunate then, Biffin was drawn right out from goals, and that takes now Port Melbourne on to 14-13 with Dandenong 12 goals 5. 3-4 to 3-2 in whose favour? Port Melbourne. All right, it goes towards the centre half back, and it'll be Bradbury's free as we have progressive scores coming through from other matches. Coburg have kicked the century, 100 to 60. Paran 60, Preston 104. Geelong West 66, Frankston coming back 50. That's it for the moment. As we have now moving away with the ball is Coventry. Coventry with the kick up towards the half-forward line. In they move, and the mark has been taken by Calorie. So Calorie with his kick across the centre half forward, and it's Allison who comes in. Rod Allison of Dandenong. They're moving the ball fairly well, Dandenong, as we have Allison at the centre half forward position, and Orton is the player. He'll most certainly get the distance as he took that mark. It's just a matter of direction. He's kicked 2 goals straight so far, Orton. Lining them up on a 45-degree angle, about 50 metres out from goal at the Williamstown Road end. He might have hooked it a little as the umpire moves across and indicates one behind. So that takes Dandenong on to 12-6-78, and Port Melbourne 14-13, a total of 97. And there's Hall now with his kick-off towards the half-back line on the stand side of the ground. No one able to mark it a push in the back down here. And the umpire will give the free kick to Bradbury, who's been in a lot of play this quarter.
He's been a very serviceable player all day, Phil.
And there's the kick on its way. Ted right towards the centre, and Abaya moves in. Abaya moving very quickly, gets the short pass, bit high, comes through towards Biffin. Biffin made a mistake then, couldn't handle the ball or hold it, and it's Wilkinson who picks it up, snap shoots for goal, and he's put it through for full points.
With this weather, you'd think the king would have more sense than to freeze prices. But no, this Hanamix 3-in-1 stereo is only $278 at King Billy Guyot's. And his royal generosity has slashed Toshiba colour tellies down to $598 from $669. Remote control, too. And this Sealy double bed is fit for a king at only $294. I can't wait. Oh, I can't take any more. Please stop freezing prices, Your Majesty.
Right, and on the bounce of the ball, it's pushed wide of the pack. Dandenong players have the chance as it's taken away by McConnell towards the half-forward line. No mark down here, forced back into the mud patch in the centre of the ground. Townsend's the player who ducked the head and got pulled around the neck and gets the free. But he contributed to that one considerably. So Townsend from the centre goes for the long kick downfield towards the centre forward. And Dandenong are getting the ball up in their forward zone, but breaking down in that area as Dermott plays it right across the half-back line. Evans moves into it now for Port Melbourne. He in turn sends it up towards the half-forward line, and the mark has been taken this time by Madden. Madden gets the hand pass to McConnell. McConnell with a wide hand pass to little Calorie, and there's little Abaya coming in on Calorie. He must have thought he was having a birthday with somebody coming at him his own size, and the mark has been taken on the half-forward line by Orton. Orton, the former Brunswick player, now playing with Dandenong. He kicked a goal from here earlier. He was further out than this, Ted, wasn't he?
Much further out than this, about another 20 metres, I would say, before.
And here's the left footer, putting it on its way, hooks it right across the face of the big sticks. And pick up down here by Harasco, who shoots, but it's gone through for a behind again. So Dandenong piling on the behinds here. They're now 12-7-79 to Port Melbourne's 15-13, 103. Both teams have kicked 3-4 this quarter, Bill.
Yes, well, it seems that no matter what Dandenong do, Port have the answer. They answer the thrusts of Dandenong pretty rapidly. It's out there towards the half-back line, and it was good football then to get it across to Swan. Swan coming down to centre wing, looking for O'Reilly. He'll find that player. Wallace well ahead of O'Reilly. O'Reilly dropping back. And once it hits his hands, it's generally a sure thing for a mark. O'Reilly swinging it in towards the full forward spot. Annanson and Biffin. Annanson got the tap, and the umpire will have to bounce it. It's 15-13 to 12-7, so that's 4 goals the difference, and that's just about represents what's happened this afternoon at Port Melbourne. 15-13 to 12-7 on the Olympic Tyre scoreboard, creeping up towards time on, about a minute away from time on. Away from the bounce, a chance for Knight. It was Stephen Knight tapping it out. Port Melbourne going in hard there, and the umpire will have to bounce once again. If Biffin's got anything to complain about, it's probably indiscreet tackling at times by some of his defenders. Annanson got the tap slightly, Madden in there, and a free kick has been found, and Dandenong will be quite delighted about that, because the free kicks have favoured Port Melbourne. Madden dropping it down to Allison, speed it up, handball across to Ross. Ross is at half-back flank, awkward kicking style, and up towards the centre wing position, and I'd pay that a good mark. The umpires agreed to too, and the mark is to Cousins, getting up at centre wing, stuttering and stammering a little bit, hooking it across towards centre half forward. They haven't won there all day. This time they've got the mark, and it's Orton. Now, if we can judge Orton on 1 or 2 of his previous kicks, he'll get pretty close to the distance. He's well out at centre half forward, 50 metres out at least, I would think. And there's the kick. It's a prodigious kick. It's a goal, no worries.
In the first 3 years of your car's life, you could need to replace all of these parts. That's very costly, not to mention the rising price of fuel. But there is one set of equipment that's built to last, your Olympic steels. Olympic steels are precision built for long life. And that adds up to real economy and safety. Choose Olympic steels, best in the long run.
Bit closer, 3 goals away from Port Melbourne, who have gone into attack immediately from the bounce, and swinging it up as O'Reilly, looking for Annanson up there. Biffin at the back, thumps away, down to Coventry, who accepts, and they'll get away through Wallace onto the left foot from the half-back flank. Townsend's their chance here, hotly pursued by Dermott. Got rid of it in the nick of time, and only just. A chance for Cousins. He too, back to Townsend, holding the ball. Gone like a robber's dog. Persistence by Dermott, and bad football by Townsend, the way he dropped that ball so quickly. Up to the half-forward line, and Anderson, the elusive Anderson at half-forward. 1.5 minutes into time on. Anderson sees Wilkinson, and Wilkinson marks, clasping the ball to his chest, and he's at centre half-forward, a little short of the position. Will probably kick the distance. He's kicked 2. He's got the distance all right. And he's got the accuracy too. So that's 3 goals to Wilkinson.
I noticed Ray Biffin then watching it all the way, Bill. And when it went through, he turned around and put his fist towards the post as though he's going to get the post out of the way.
Well, it's Port Melbourne 16-13 to 13-7. Biff, there he is.
Those players across the half-back line must be disappointing him a lot today.
Oh, they would be. They've broken. Dandenong have come. Port Melbourne have come through that half-back line with consummate ease, you might say, for most of the day, but it's Ross getting it out for Dandenong out of the ruck into a pack of players there. Cousins tapping it further afield to Townsend. Townsend hooks it to half forward, and sitting back there to take the mark is Allison. Allison at half forward, playing on quickly, and they need to do that down into the forward pocket, and that's McConnell down there.
Allison, the player we just saw dispose of that ball, Bill, he's played very well since he came on from the interchange bench.
He has. There's McConnell in the forward pocket, and the scoreboard, Olympic Tyre scoreboard, showing Port Melbourne to be 16-13 to 13-7, and we're coming up towards 3/4 time at the 28-minute mark in this, the 3rd quarter. McConnell's kick, by the look of that goal umpire, is fairly true. It is, it's another goal, and that takes them on to 14-7, trailing Port Melbourne 16-13.
Dandenong, replying pretty quickly, Bill, to goals that are being scored, as we have other scores coming through, but when it gets down on Port's forward line, they're pretty quick with the ball. Anderson is playing havoc down there, and Biffin really is the only player working on their back line.
Yes, and Davies pretty alert around the forward line as well.
All right, well, we're just waiting on this bounce now at the 29-minute mark. And in go the big fellows, forced away from the pack, and it was Wilkinson who got it away. Could be holding the man there, but a pick up by Townsend. Townsend plays it back into the centre. Bradbury coming through once again, trying to gain possession is Madden. The umpire blows the whistle after all that and has decided to ball it up. You don't often see mud down here at Port Melbourne. Young, enthusiastic Port Melbourne supporters by the look of it. And there's Cook moving in the ruck, marks it on the bounce, sends it up towards Abaya. Abaya's grabbed pretty quickly, gets it back in the direction of the centre. McConnell picking it up, getting up near siren time as he puts it high in the air towards the half-forward line, punched away from players down here. Coming through is John Christo, and he's got plenty of time now to pick it up. Oh, his hand passed it direct to Ross, and Ross has done a foolish thing. He should have grabbed it in the air, dribbled off the ground, comes back here towards Hall, kicked high in the air by McConnell. And McConnell getting it up on the half-forward line and John Christo taking the mark.
A passage of mistakes then, Phil.
Oh, one after the other, Ted, by some of the players who should know better. Again, we have Bradbury coming into it. He sends it to the half-forward line. It's a Port Melbourne, I thought it was going to be a Port Melbourne mark. Coming out of it is O'Reilly, who snap shoots for goal. And I think he's put it through for another one to Port Melbourne. And they go on to 17-13 to Dandenong's 14 goals 7. That's what I was talking about, Bill. There's the difference. As soon as it hits that half-forward line of Port Melbourne, the half-backs of Dandenong can't do a thing about it.
No, and Port are quick to reply every time, and they look as if they have the game in hand. It's early to say that, but they seem to have enough in hand at any given time.
Now, umpire Murray Stab.
24 points the margin, and we've now played 6 minutes into the time-on period of the third quarter. Very close to that siren as Dandenong go into attack again. The sun streaming down here and would be a problem to players. Now it's Wilkinson for Port Melbourne. Wide open spaces, gets it across to Cook, who's in the wide open spaces. Also, handball across to Dermott. Can he take it? Taking his time, now he picks it up. He'll get a handball into Davis. Another handball, a game of handball at the moment. Evans goes through into goal and through for 4 points. Well, handball paying dividends on that occasion, Ted.
They did it so easily, Rob. They right from round on the half-back line up to Cook, the handball started and went from player to player with ease, complete ease then, and just showed the superiority as we watch the replay of it with Dermott getting the ball. Here's a hand pass. That's Davis coming out there into the pocket, who's played well for Port today. A further hand pass into Evans, and he just screws it around and straight through the middle. Good football by Port Melbourne.
It makes the margin in favour of Port Melbourne now 30 points, and that is the largest margin of the day. 18-13, 121 to Dandenong, 14-7, 91. Players down on the ground there, and the umpire, Murray Stab, will call for the ball almost in the centre. Very heavy condition right there in the centre of the ground, so he'll throw the ball up. Freddie Cook getting into the back of the big player, but it's Port Melbourne going forward through Cousins. Cousins' kick did go nowhere, so it's knocked down to the ground, and it's Wilkinson for Port Melbourne coming to the broadcast side of the ground, and Evans will take a hand pass there across to Christo. Christo back to Evans, a short pass by Evans into towards Abaya, so let's see what he can do. Handballs to Freddie Cook all by himself. Cook slams away into the forward pocket position, and a beautiful mark there to Davis. Good mark to Davis. Very acute angle, and he's cribbing a bit too, trying to get round. And let's have a look at that mark again. Cook slamming away. Davis going up from behind. And now Davis has the opportunity to notch his fourth goal. A very acute angle, as you can see. Oh, beautiful kick right through the middle. And 4 points to Port Melbourne, and a very valuable goal on the siren, Phil.
Yes, Rob, and Dandenong in a lot of trouble now. What do you think, Bill?
I don't think there's any doubt that coming into the last quarter, you've got to say that Port Melbourne are the better combination. In retrospect, the game has followed much the same pattern throughout, with Dandenong placing it with Port until about halfway through a quarter, and then Port drawing away. The exception was at quarter time. But since then, Port have been decidedly the better combination. They're more mobile, their handball is more profitable and fruitful, and all in all, they're a better combination. And as I said, even though it's early days, a little bit early to make a prediction, I don't think there's the slightest doubt that Port Melbourne are going to win this and win it convincingly.
Ted Henrys.
Well, Port Melbourne, Phil, just about doubled the score by Dandenong in that quarter, 8 goals to 4. And as was mentioned during the quarter, Bill, the half-back line of Dandenong, that's letting them down. And looking at the other in the ground, Phil, that's one of Port Melbourne's strengths, is their half-back line, is where Dandenong's had a lot of trouble getting that ball down to the scoring zone. But the smaller players of Port Melbourne are still a little bit quiet at that time, but they're still dominating this game, possibly with the exception of Paul Callery, who did start to come into the game. And it's necessary for him to carry on even better in the last quarter. If Dandenong got any hope at all, it's pretty slender at the moment, but if they've got any hope of coming back into this game, the small players must get more possessions, Phil, and they must pass it on and create a bit more teamwork into the game to get it down into the scoring position right in front of goal.
Yes, Dandenong matched it with them until half-time, but that was the quarter where Port got on top. And as I said during the commentary there, it was the half-back line that was letting Dandenong down. I feel Bradbury is one of the strengths of Port Melbourne right across their half-back line. You mentioned that line playing particularly well, Ted, but all the small men of Port Melbourne are doing well. Dandenong, I don't know what they can do across that half-back line. Probably put one of their taller players in there to try and take the big mark, but they're in a lot of trouble, and I don't think there's any doubt that Port Melbourne will take it out because they're gaining confidence with every kick. Rob Asprey.
Well, Dandenong have had no answer for Swan, who's absolutely dominated the centre. Demetrio is another great defender, and one of the reasons Dandenong have broken down on the forward line. I'd like to mention Tony Abaya. Hasn't been an outstanding player, but last year he was a very good player, especially in the grand final, and today, coming on in the place of Goss, has acquitted himself very, very well. That's Tony Abaya. But if there is any wind advantage, Phil, I guess Dandenong will have it in the last quarter, and I guess, well, that's the advantage that they have, but it's marginal because they'll need more than the wind advantage to win this game.
Well, the wind you get down here at Port Melbourne.
Who are you pointing
at? A couple of these factories down here.
I thought it was your socks.
No. I'll tell you what, a couple of these factories, they put a bit out, and by gee, you've got to be strong to take it. Anyway, Ian, statistics.
Port Melbourne kick getters. Swan dropped out of the game a little bit in that quarter. He's had 18 kicks to date, 1 in that quarter. Dermott playing well with 13, Doyle 13, Wilkinson a good quarter, 17 kicks to date, and Bradbury 15. Dandenong kick getters, Madden 16 kicks, 7 coming from that quarter, and Callery had a good quarter. He's had 15 kicks, 8 coming from that quarter. Townsend 16, Nelson a good interchange player with 9 kicks. Port Melbourne goal kickers, 4 to Davis, 3 to Wilkinson, 2 each to Swan, Annanson, Evans, Anderson and O'Reilly, and 1 each to Ebaya and Jim Christo. For Dandenong, 3 to Callery and Orton, 2 each to Wright and Ross, and 1 each to Woodman, Allison, Townsend and McConnell. Free kicks, 27 to Dandenong to three-quarter time, and for Port Melbourne, 37.
Well, it was interesting looking at those progressive scores a moment ago. Ending up in Port Melbourne now being right on top. 19-13, 127 to Dandenong's 14-7, a total of 91.
You're cute. Thank you, Major. Him.
Now, 1 hour earlier at 6:30 tonight.
This isn't a class in etiquette, it's a MASH unit. We save lives 98% of the time.
A show you'll laugh at 98% of the time.
Yeah.
Are you decent in there?
No, but give us a minute, we'll take off our clothes.
The other 2% will make you cry.
I've got people dying all around me. You think I get upset because a dog gets run over?
MASH, now at 6:30 tonight. Followed at 7:30 by Magnum PI.
DuPont present America's #1 premium car wax. Rain Dance, the one with the watertight guarantee. Guaranteed to shine longer, to bead water longer, to last longer than any other leading car wax. Or DuPont give you your money back. Rain Dance, the #1 premium car wax, guaranteed to shine longer, to bead water longer, to last longer. The Rain Dance guarantee is watertight. Available at Myer, all stores, selected Shell service stations, and all McEwen stores.
Are you still doing the set minuet? Why rent a set when you can go remote?
For just a few cents more, you can rent a touch-tune remote control set from Radio Rentals.
Bring Radio Rentals color.
Get the best from the biggest. Stop dancing around. Check our number in the yellow pages.
Righto, back here at Port Melbourne. We're just waiting for them to break up at three-quarter time. And as we said earlier, about 6 goals the difference, whether Ray Biffin can gee his team up enough to get up there and mark off that deficit. But Port Melbourne is starting to look confident again. And always very difficult to beat down here. When were they... when did Dandenong last beat them down here, Ian?
1973 was the last occasion that Dandenong won
well,
here
there you
at
are.
Melbourne ground.
It was a long time ago, and it doesn't look as though they're going to beat them today. And Dandenong was a far better side back in those years and in recent years than they are today. Although I think, Ted, you'll agree, there's been a big improvement in the Dandenong side from when we saw them against Preston.
Well, the only time they looked like a football team against Preston, Phil, you may recall, was in that first quarter. But from quarter time onward, they looked like a second-grade side, Dandenong. Preston were far too good. And they do look a lot better today than they looked then. No doubt about it that Biffin is doing a good job with them, but he needs to settle the side down. He's switching them all over the place week to week, and that's no good for a football team. Well, he's only had one goal kicked against him by his forward today, which gives an indication that he's doing his job as a player there. But that's it for the moment. We'll be back here right after this break.
Announcing NCT Steel from Goodyear. A new type of steel radial with a tread based on Goodyear's world-dominating Formula One rain tyre. NCT Steel offers more grip, more driver control than ever before.
Grip means safety, even at low speeds, particularly on greasy, wet roads after light rain. So when I heard about Goodyear's new NCT steel radial in Europe, I had to try it for myself. Driver response and grip are outstanding, particularly in the wet where the NCT tread grips like the road's dry. Well, I'm convinced. Any tyre that can offer this much grip has got to be a safer proposition on any car.
More grip, more driver control. NCT Steel, only from Goodyear.
For grip, I can't think of a better steel radial.
Entertain us, Mr. Video. Show us something that'll make us glow. You're the one with the name we all know. Riley Bishop's Mr. Video. Come and help us get on with the show. Riley Bishop, you're Mr. Video.
Riley Bishop, Blackburn Road, Blackburn, and Centre Point Shopping Mall. Top of the escalator, Burke Street City.
Right back here at the ground, and there goes the bounce as we get underway for the final quarter. Anderson getting the big knockout from the ruck. He gets it down towards Anderson. Anderson shoots it across towards that centre forward zone. Davis passes it back to Evans. Evans shoots for goal, and look at that. 13 seconds after the bounce of the ball, Port Melbourne turned it on and put it through for another goal. They've now moved on to 2013-133 to Dandenong's 14-7-91. Well, now, ball coming back into the centre, and we remind you that this quarter is brought to you by Goodyear tyres. Now, umpire Murray Stagg about to bounce, and there's the replay of the way they did it so quickly in 13 seconds, ending up with Evans, and Evans putting it right through the middle. On the bounce, they come over the top of the ball, around the neck, says the umpire, and the free kick will be taken by Wilkinson of Port Melbourne. Wilkinson gets the lead near the centre of the ground, but puts it too far. This allows Abaya, though, to come in, and Abaya left foots it up towards that centre forward zone. Up goes Cook, forced away from him, and it will be thrown back into play deep in the forward line for Port Melbourne. They've done all the attacking in the first couple of minutes of this quarter. Biffin, incidentally, Bill's just pointed out to me, has gone to full forward for Dandenong. Or has he? I'm looking for him and I can't find him, Bill.
It's my mistake, Phil. One of my rare mistakes, my friend.
Right. Just as well I said you pointed it out to me. Anyway, it's being pushed around by the packet over the line and out of bounds. Don't forget to listen to Bill Jacobs' accurate commentaries on 3AW on Saturdays. Sorry, Bill. Okay, it comes off the hands of the packet, a pick up by Evans again. Again, he snap shoots for goal. It's on its way, and he's put it through for full points. And that was Evans' 5th goal.
Chicken spot is a spot on spot for spot on. Chicken spot on. The chicken spot is a spot on spot for spot on. Chicken spot on. Take me to the chicken spot is a spot on spot for spot on. Chicken spot on, spot on.
Right on the bounce, it's pushed wide of the pack, comes back in towards John Christo. Christo up towards the half-forward line, and eventually coming in here to gain possession is Orasco. Orasco out towards the wing on the outer side of the ground. A race for the ball between two of the smaller men, but Orasco gets in there before them, and it's a pick-up by Allenson. Pass to him, really. Moving in is John Christo, and Christo takes the mark. So Christo looking for the lead. Anderson called for it and then decided to tell him to kick it downfield. And there it goes on its way towards the half-forward line. Up they rise for it. Moving in there is Knight. Knight then kicks it towards Madden. Madden pushes it down to the ground instead of grabbing it with both hands. Comes through to McConnell. McConnell plays it into the centre. Moving in here is Bradbury again. And Bradbury hand passing to Anderson. Anderson with a further hand pass to Wilkinson. Wilkinson now from wide of centre half forward. Straight down towards full forward. And there's Fred Cook getting a push in the back of the neck. Comes in to take the mark. He's kicked one behind so far, Fred Cook.
And only 2 goals last week. Could be on the downgrade.
Yeah, but we've got to be fair to him, Ted, because they've been rucking him, putting him on the ball. And it goes on its way, and Cook has put it through for full points.
DuPont present America's #1 premium car wax. Rain Dance, the one with the watertight guarantee. Guaranteed to shine longer, to bead water longer, to last longer than any other leading car wax. Or DuPont give you your money back. Rain Dance, the #1 premium car wax, guaranteed to shine longer, to bead water longer, to last longer. The Rain Dance guarantee is watertight. Available at Myer, all stores, selected Shell service stations, and all McEwen stores.
And now on the bounce once again, Callery goes for the hand pass. Missing the pass was Orasco, and O'Reilly gets the free. So O'Reilly right from the centre of the ground. On its way it goes. Davis moving out well, and Davis takes an effortless mark. But gee, he's played well, this fellow. Round the forward line, he's kicked 4 goals, 3. And he's been a big difference to the Port Melbourne side. His 11th kick. There it goes on its way, and that's his 5th goal on the board. He's kicked 5-3.
Entertain us, Mr. Video. Show us something that'll make us glow. You're the one with the name we all know. Riley Bishop's Mr. Video. Come and help us get on with the show. Riley Bishop, you're Mr. Video.
Riley Bishop, Blackburn Road, Blackburn, and Centrepoint Shopping Mall. Top of the escalator, Burke Street City.
Well, it's 5 minutes into the last term, and the difference is 10 goals favouring Port Melbourne. Anderson gets it out quite easily. A chance for Cousins, and Cousins got it across to Madden. Madden was quick to kick the centre wing. John Christo overran the ball. McConnell knocked away. Dermott coming up across the half-back flank for Port Melbourne. Falls over and gets a free kick. Dermott kicked it straight. You saw what he did, straight into Wright, who hasn't been very prominent. Demetrio knocking it out to John Christo, and he'll break away from the half-back flank just in the nick of time, kicking to centre wing. Few words being exchanged here, and the ball eventually goes over the line and out of bounds at 6 minutes into the last quarter, and the scoreboard showing that Port Melbourne are leading quite comfortably on 23 goals, 13 to 14-7.
Port Melbourne have kicked 4 goals straight in this quarter to no score by Dandenong, Bill.
That's in just under 7 minutes, Phil. Well, it's Dandenong's kick here at centre wing position, and taken by Tonks. Tonks kicks up towards centre-half forward, nearly raked in there by Hall. Out to Wilkinson, who's had a fair game, didn't on that occasion. Further afield to Allison. Allison breaking clear to the centre-half forward position. Orton hooking it back, but there's nothing there but Port Melbourne players at the moment. Coventry arriving on the scene, nearly took a miraculous mark. Demetrio picks up to get the ball out to Bradbury. Bradbury's had a great game on the half-back line for Port Melbourne. To Ibea. Ibea quickly to Swan, who sparkled in the centre, and Swan down to centre-half forward, and the sure hands of O'Reilly onto the ball to take the mark. At the centre of the ground, 7 minutes into the last quarter, O'Reilly's kick to Cook. In front of Biffin. And a good strong mark by Fred Cook.
Do you think Ray Biffin's given up the ghost, Bill? 10 goals down?
No, I don't think he's given up the ghost, but he just simply didn't punch on that occasion. He attempted to outmark him. Here it is on replay, and there's Biff too far behind, and the ball locked in the sure grip of Freddie Cook. And that's another goal to Port Melbourne.
Working so close to people, I like to feel sure of my breath. That's why I use Seedle Fresh Breath Spray. Just one tiny spray and your mouth feels fresh for hours. I like to use Seedle Fresh Breath Spray after drinking, eating, or before anything. 3 great flavours, peppermint, mint mild and lemon, in a tiny pocket or purse spray that lasts for ages. Feel confident of your breath with Seedle Fresh Breath Sprays. They taste great.
And Port Melbourne going into attack again with Bradbury thumping up there, but the kick taken under control by Madden to get it into the centre to Callery, and Callery goes through the centre of the ground with good handball to Allison. Allison up towards centre-half forward, Doyle knocking it away, and Port will probably go away through Doyle, slip to the ground, several players vying for possession, and the umpire will bounce. In retrospect, people are going to look at this game and they'll possibly forget that Dandenong put up a pretty good fight for a considerable part of the game, but Port Melbourne are going to romp away with it, already leading by 11 goals. It's on Dandenong's half-forward line. Annanson, right, tapped it away. You're going to see Hall take it away for Port Melbourne to get it to the centre half-forward position, closer to the centre of the ground now as they bustle for possession, and the umpire will bounce once again. Olympic Tyres scoreboard, 9 minutes into the term, shows that Port Melbourne are 24-13 and Dandenong 14-7. Umpire stab, putting it down. Oof. Woodman right over the top of Anderson, tapped it away, and the hurried kick goes up to John Christo to mark, and there'll be a 15-metre penalty against Cousins. Christo will not kick. He elects to hand the ball to Wilkinson, who gains another possession, kicks long, up to the full forward area, only to see Biffin mark. He gets it out to Callery, the 2 former Melbourne players, and Callery from the half-back flank directs it around looking for Coventry. Coventry leading Bradbury in the race for the ball. Tapped it back cleverly across to McConnell. McConnell's kick intercepted, and Coventry's just about had enough. And look at them go. Ibea hit the ground like a wet sack then, and he's at centre wing to take the free kick. There he is, Tony Ibea. 15-metre penalty against Coventry, and Ibea's kick is long and directed towards full forward. Cook grabs, kick hurried, Kavanagh in there. Dandenong repulse the attack, and it'll come up towards the half-back line for Dandenong, where Callery takes the mark.
And Callery now from centre half-back plays it in towards the centre of the ground, and here's the opportunity now for Dandenong to get it right upfield. It comes up in the direction of the big fellow in Lou Wright, but taken away here by Demetrio, who's played a great game. Annanson now out towards Wilkinson. Wilkinson tries to trap the ball, has a lot of trouble in handling it, gets it further around the wing, but there's Annanson coming in, gets into the back of his opponent, and it'll be Peter Knight to take it. He puts it out to Tonks. Tonks high in the air up towards the half-forward line. They rise high for it. Dandenong get the score in this quarter after 11 minutes of play as it's taken over the line by John Christo. On the half-forward line for Dandenong, fighting a losing cause. Dandenong at the present time comes down into the hands of Peter Cousins, who couldn't break away. A pick-up by John Christo. He hand passes across in the direction of Johnson. Johnson taking it downfield towards the wing on the outer side of the ground. And moving away with it here is Madden. Madden up towards that half-forward line, but again John Christo coming into it. He passes towards Bradbury, but Bradbury couldn't quite get to it. It's still being pushed across field. Bradbury moving after the ball, gets it up here towards Johnson. Johnson going right downfield with it, up towards centre half-forward. Nearly a good mark taken by Grant O'Reilly. Pass back in the direction of Evans from Davis. He gets it in turn towards Kavanagh. Kavanagh shoots for goal. And a good goal by Kavanagh for Port Melbourne.
In the first 3 years of your car's life, you could need to replace all of these parts. That's very costly, not to mention the rising price of fuel. But there is one set of equipment that's built to last, your Olympic steels. Olympic steels are precision built for long life. And that adds up to real economy and safety. Choose Olympic steels, best in the long run.
Well, Port Melbourne have kicked 6 goals in 12 minutes. Dandenong have not scored in this quarter. Port are 25-13 to Dandenong's 14 goals 7. Up on Dandenong's forward line, but again we see Demetrio coming into it. He plays it towards the half-back line to Bradbury. Bradbury in towards the centre. Swan from the centre gets his chance to take the kick now. And there it goes, on its way. Fred Cook leading out, fell into it. I think it hit the ground first. And the umpire saw it. Biffin passes it away. Taken away here for Dandenong by Callery up towards the half-back line. The little fellow Abaya came into it, fails to take the mark, and it will be thrown back into play. Rob.
Well, a big margin in favour of Dandenong at this stage, but the question is in favour of Port Melbourne, I should say, and a big task for Dandenong, is what we were trying to say. But it's going forward now for Port Melbourne as Johnson comes through, the interchange player, given the opportunity late in this game, and a mark right in front of goal, and an opportunity for Port Melbourne to go further ahead by O'Reilly. 13 minutes into the final term. Commentators having a good think about who
see
to
the
vote
replay
for
there,
as the
Rob, of a
best
2
player.
by O'Reilly. A great mark.
O'Reilly now lining up the big sticks directly in front. There's the kick right through the middle, and 4 points to Port Melbourne.
The great Australian miseries can hit just about any time of the year. Yet somehow it always feels like winter. Your head feels stuffy and your throat feels sore, and you'll be asked to brave the elements regardless. There is a way to soften the blow. The moment you feel the cold symptoms about to hit, Allen Soothers with eucalyptus, menthol and glucose. What a relief.
The margin now is 13 points on the Olympic Tyre, 13 goals on the Olympic Tyre scoreboard, 78 points the difference. Ball right in the centre of the ground. Picked up by Christo. John Christo goes for a bit of a run, then handballs, gives the opportunity to Abaya, but coming through is the opposition in Madden. Madden under a lot of pressure, handballs. It's on the wing position right in front of the big grandstand out there. Can Dandenong score? They trail by a large margin over the line and out of bounds. Throw-in will result. 7 goals straight this quarter to no score by Dandenong. Very good effort by Port Melbourne playing premiership football. There's the throw-in. Getting the front berth is Annenson. Gets the ball out, picked up by Wilkinson, one of the best players and certainly a contender for the Seedle Puma best player of the day. Umpire has found a free kick. Running back to have a chat there to the man on the mark. Murray Stab directing that the free kick will go. The sun in the eyes of the players down there. They all seem a bit confused as to what's going on. And with a score like that and the way that Port Melbourne have been scoring this quarter, no wonder. A big kick right down towards the centre half forward position for Dandenong, and going up and taking the mark is Hall. One of the big players for Port Melbourne. He'll direct play to this side of the ground, the broadcast box side of the ground. Abaya takes the mark. Unattended there by Callery. Gets it in towards the centre of the ground. Swan picks the ball up. Handballs across to the player in Demetrio, who's also been a good player, now on the forward line, down towards the full forward position. And the umpire has found a free kick, and it'll go to Harasco, 21 for Dandenong. We've now played 16 minutes into the final quarter. He decides to handball, and looks like it is a lost cause. And the Dandenong players certainly showing their depression at this stage. Coventry it is, who kicks back towards the centre of the ground, wing position. Play on, says the umpire, disputed mark, and no, he'll blow the whistle and probably ball it up, I would suggest. Well, a very interesting game for 3 quarters anyway. In fact, certainly at half-time it was anybody's game. There's the bounce, the big man going up as Woodman. He was in the thick of things early, but faded out. Dick Anderson throwing the ball back to Knight. Knight will handball to Callery. Callery gets his kick coming to the other side of the ground, the broadcast box side of the ground, right in the centre now, and Woodman it is going in again under a lot of pressure, gets it back to Orasco. Can he do anything with it? Abaya's down there showing plenty of guts. Look at them go in now as the umpire says play on. Again, it's Orasco who gets the front berth, a bit of a shove, but the umpire has called for it and will bounce it.
Right, well, play becoming very scrambly now.
It is, Ted, and of course I think the players realise it's all over, Phil.
Yes, well, I don't know about all over, because Port Melbourne still in there, going hard, and Dandenong have not scored in this quarter, and we're at the 18-minute mark. All right, here's a chance now as Allison passes across, and moving in is Townsend, snap shoots for goal, and he's put it through for the goal, the first one in this quarter, to Dandenong.
Now, I've just shown you how easy it is to operate a video recorder. I'll show you how easy it is to have one in your home today. Thanks to Instant TV Rentals, you can enjoy a video recorder like this, designed to work with your existing TV, from just $10 per week. Plus, you get 12 months free borrowing from ITR's library. That's right, from just $10 per week, you can record your own programs, plus watch any of the hundreds of top movies from ITR's library. Ring now for a free home demonstration.
Right back here, and there you have the big difference in scores here at Port Melbourne. And Cook up in the ruck again, fighting it out with Woodman there, comes wide, and then there's the hand pass to Callery. Callery sidesteps and then gets the short pass, too high for Allison. Comes through towards Johnson. Johnson has the chance now to try and get it, but he's grabbing his opponent there. Orton. Pick up by Evans. Evans now out towards the half-forward line, and Cook comes in to take the mark. Oh, he's gone for a hand pass well wide of his teammate as we have progressive scores coming through. Brunswick getting a thrashing. They're 58 points down against Coburn. Ball about to be thrown back into play on the Norman Goss stand side of the ground. Cook in front as it knocked away from him, but he must get the free. Woodman was all over him. He passes to Hall. Hall in towards the centre of the ground. Swan pursuing the ball. Grabs it with one hand. Gets away nicely. They're doing it easily now. Davis comes out, and Davis takes 2 bites at the cherry to pull in the mark. So Davis on the left half-forward flank. He's kicked 5 goals, 3. Davis. And there's the replay of it. 2 bites to pull it in. Still think Dino Ross is the one for the Gillette mark of the day. As Davis puts it on its way, it's not a bad kick either, but offline. And goes through for 1 behind. And that was their first minor score for the quarter. That takes Port Melbourne on to 26-14, 170. To Dandenong's 15-7, 97. Biffin again with the kick-off. Plays it out wide. I'm just looking for Dino Ross. I don't think he's on the ground. I think he went off, Ted, after that injury he sustained when he lobbed pretty heavily after taking the mark of the day. But anyway, there's a kick off the ground from Peter Cousins. He gets it wide of the centre of the ground. But it's Hall coming through for Port Melbourne. Gets the hand pass in across to Kavanagh. Kavanagh now with a long kick downfield. Offline it is. And it's out on the full. We'll see the kick being taken by Andrew Heap. He plays it to the half-back line, looking for his teammate in Coventry, but he's put it out on the full. So the free kick to be taken down here, probably by Davis. No, it didn't go out on the full. Anyway, I think we could see it might have just lobbed inside the boundary line. Now trying to come through as Cousins. He couldn't get away, but gets it through to McConnell. McConnell now with a kick in towards the centre half forward zone. Orton in front, cops one behind the ear, but a strong fellow takes the mark and then plays on towards the centre forward zone. Lou Wright tried to get under the ball, was held, but here's another Dandenong goal coming up, and it's been kicked by Peter Knight.
This is the best way I know to prevent muscle strain. Warm-up by Denker Rub. Before you exercise, apply some warm-up. Massage it in towards the furthest extremities, just like this. You'll feel fast-acting warm-up, quickly penetrating, warming and stimulating the muscle. Do a quick limber up and you're ready for anything. And there's less risk of you going to work looking like a lame duck.
Wake up your muscles with warm-up. New from Denko Rub.
26-14 to 16-7, Port Melbourne leading and doing it pretty easily. The one thing they're going to get out of this game, if nothing else, is a big boost in confidence after their debacle against Coburg. Preston coming home with plenty to spare, 69 points. And Dandenong going to attack, and there's Orton. Orton, who's kicked 2 prodigious goals. Each of them would be 50 metres, I would suspect. Both kicked at the Williamstown Road end of the ground. This time he's at the Yarra River end, and 5 metres out, and puts it through for another goal.
Selling spare parts is a dog-eat-dog business. You've got to have a huge range, and you've got to have competitive prices. If you don't...
The Scutsy 12-volt battery has a full 3-year pro-rata warranty. Normally you'd pay up to $54. No more. Only $32.63 with trade-in at Group Auto Spares.
I know we've got the best range, and I know we've got the best prices. If we didn't, I'd be out of business before you could say Group Auto Spares.
Port Melbourne have scored 26-14, as you see, and Dandenong 17-7. 61 points the difference, and we're 23.5 minutes into the last quarter. The siren will bring blessed relief to Dandenong, and there's Swan, who's had any number of kicks today, taking it out of the centre. 22 kicks for the day, but the attack is repulsed and brought up to the centre of the ground for Madden to mark. Madden will transfer play up to his team's half-forward line, which hasn't been a productive line for them, and it's broken down there once again as Johnson takes it away, easily handballing to Ibea, and Ibea heads towards the centre. The kick is directed towards centre half-forward, and the free kick will be given to Woodman for being held when not in possession of the ball. Woodman with Annanson standing the mark. They've had a pretty decent tussle in the ruck, with Annanson taking the honours, of course. When I say of course, he's dominated the ruck duels for most of the day. Christo, after handball from Hall, gets it down towards centre half forward, and O'Reilly is in there to take the mark once again. 24 minutes into the term, and the difference 61 points in Port Melbourne's favour. O'Reilly, a long kick up to full forward, and it might have been a mark to Woodman. That's what the umpire's paying. Number 1, former Melbourne player. And the ball will be taken back, and Woodman kick again, I think. No, the free kick to Biffin. So Biffin gives it to Woodman, or tries to, assuming that Woodman wants the kick and deserved it. And Woodman hand passes to Tonks, who had a pretty good first half but has faded a little. Tonks has kicked to the centre of the ground, and high was Peter Knight. Play on as the call as it comes out of the pack to Johnson. Johnson a bit long, a little bit lucky to get away with it, and it came to Allison. Allison to Callery as effective handball to Townsend, looking for that player, and he's got the free kick for the tackle to High. 26-14 to 17-7, and the umpire telling the Port Melbourne defenders why he gave the free kick. Just about to creep into time on. 25 minutes exactly have been played, and this is the final quarter of the game here at Port Melbourne, and Port are going to run out easy winners. Leading at the moment 26-14 to 17-7 on the Olympic Tyre scoreboard. Townsend. He may not quite make the distance, he hasn't, and Port Melbourne through Hall are happy to push it through for a point. They concede that, and they'll work the ball back into play with Dandenong score on 17-8, and they trail Port Melbourne 26-14. Out to Wilkinson, gathers it cleanly, saunters away with the ball, coming out of the back line. Handball to Hall. It was a little bit too long, but Kavanagh saw it coming, and he takes it under control. From centre wing, directs it towards centre half forward, and the attack is held up by Biffin. Handball to Tonks. Tonks pushes it to Madden. Madden at half back, and he'll find Townsend. Dandenong coming into attack, and Port just going through the motions for most of it. A little bit of authoritative penalty there. Callery Callery in the forward pocket. Coventry. So they're doing it with short work, getting it into the forward line. There's a final score. Geelong West 15-14. That's a blow to Frankston 8-19. I don't think Serafini would have got many goals down there today somehow or other. 8-19.
Oh, he wouldn't have got 6, Bill, like the same as last week.
And there's a goal to Coventry.
We give it all our love. We barbecue it slow. You know it really shows. We give it all our love.
Red Rooster's delicious Hawaiian pack. If you can't make it to Hawaii, well, at least you can get a taste for it.
Red Rooster barbecue. We cook it just for you. We give it all our love.
Well, there we have the score. 170 plays 116. Dandenong scoring a lot better now as it comes through in the direction of McConnell. McConnell from centre half forward shoots it up towards Lou Wright. Wright coming in from behind, and again we see in there Demetrio. It's passed back from Wright this time to Callery. Callery shoots for goal, and he's put it through for a behind. Looks at the goal post, looks a bit disgusted about it. But that takes Dandenong on to 18-9, 117. Port Melbourne 26-14, 170. It's Christo who's going to kick off here, John Christo. And he puts it on its way towards the half-back line, and dropping down there was Johnson. Johnson gets his kick in, wide of the centre, up towards the half-forward line. And a mark taken over here for Port Melbourne by Evans. Evans races away pretty quickly. He's caught. And there's little Abaya coming in now. Rasco trying to get it away, or is it Madden? Madden trying to get it away. He gets it across towards Woodman. Woodman up towards centre half forward. They rise it in the back. That's got to be. And Hall will be the player to get the free kick. He's played a pretty serviceable game, Hall. His 10th kick coming up. And he's right out at centre half back. And there it goes on its way towards centre half forward. And that's got to be O'Reilly in the centre, the way he stretched the arms up. Grant O'Reilly. He's got long arms, this fellow. He's got long legs too, Bill.
He's going to have a long kick now too.
Well, I heard Bill saying a bit like Kevin Murray, but Kevin's hands only came down to his knees.
Well, this fella's got pretty long arms. Look at them.
Yeah. Short pockets. Okay, there goes the kick on its way, and it's gone through for another goal to Port Melbourne, and that takes them to 27-14, 176 against Dandenong's 18-9, 117. Rob.
Well, we can't very well say can Dandenong come back, because if they do, it doesn't really matter. But at this stage of the game, as Port Melbourne go through the motions, is when injuries can occur, and also reports Port Melbourne wouldn't want to do anything stupid at this stage, because considering that Bryce is out of the side, it's been a very good effort by Port Melbourne, especially in this last quarter. There's the bounce. Freddie Cook in the role of a ruckman for most of this game, and underneath is Callery. Umpire Brian Oakley will call for it and bounce it again. We've now played 4.5 minutes of time on in the final term, and of course we are also waiting for the best player award and also the mark of the day, and that's something worth waiting around for. In the centre of the ground, Swan trying to pick the ball up. There's a final score coming through now. It's Morty Alec defeating Werribee 104-97. Umpire Brian Oakley will throw the ball up in that very sticky patch out there in the centre. And it's Dandenong who'll go forward. Coming to the flank, Townsend it is, who'll take the mark. Good thing he went back on that occasion. Sees a short pass and gets it in, and it's picked up by Orton, the man who we've seen kick 2 very long goals today. In fact, he's kicked 4 in total, but 2 of the longest goals that I've seen so far this season. Let's see what he can do. Now, moving in, going for goal number 5. It's going to be very close. It won't get the accuracy. In fact, it's out on the full, and the penalty kick will result, taken by Demetrio. For my money, being one of Port Melbourne's good players today, Demetrio kicks the ball to the grandstand side of the ground. Fred Cook out there giving a bit of a shove, and it was seen too, and the kick will be taken by Chris Woodman. Frustration there by Fred Cook. Not the fittest player on the ground, I would think. Now grabbing the ball, the opportunity for Callery to take it, gets himself around an opponent, screws it in towards the big sticks, and the umpire says one behind only. So the time now of played is 31.5 minutes. A big win to Port Melbourne. Certainly rejuvenate their confidence after the surprise defeat of last week. The ball is taken on the outside of the ground by Bradbury. Bradbury, a good player today, gives the ball to Evans, going forward, right down towards the forward zone. Players going up, and the umpire has decided to pay the mark. No, yes, giving it to Harasco. Harasco will direct play through a hand pass, and Captain Ray Biffin to the broadcast box side of the ground, the scoreboard side of the ground. Throwing himself is Tony Abaya, just there in time. I think that was a bit doubtful. Umpire Murray Stab giving the benefit of the doubt to one of the smallest men on the ground. Tony Abaya, there's his kick, cross towards the centre half forward position. Players going up, contesting the mark there. No one coming down with it. Biffin comes out, but there it is, the final siren to end this match at Port Melbourne.
Yes, and the final score in the match was Port Melbourne defeating Dandenong. Port Melbourne 27-14, 176. Dandenong 18-10, 118. So now over to Ted Henry's, and let's look at the Best Player Award for the Seidel products, the $50 in cash, and also for the Puma boots and the Puma bag. And we've seen a lot of Pumas out there today. But Ted, right, let's now have the best player. Ted?
Well, the best player in our opinion up here, and particularly mine, was Bradbury of Port Melbourne on the half-back flank, one of the unsung hero positions, you might call it. But Peter Bradbury, a great game all day, right from the first bounce of the day. Peter Bradbury from the half-back flank, best man on the ground.
Well, that was a unanimous decision by commentators up here today, as we have the mark of the day coming up, Ted, the Gillette mark of the day.
Yes, well, it took place 15.5 minutes in the third quarter, Phil. A magnificent mark taken by Dean Ross as he rises high into the air. A magnificent mark from that player. Unfortunately, I think that was when he fell, hurt himself, and probably the reason he had to leave the ground later on. But Dean Ross, the Gillette mark of the day.
Righto, and the winning player at the end of the year for the mark of the day will receive $1,000 in cash on Gillette's behalf. But at this stage, they've received $50 in cash and the Gillette products every Sunday afternoon. All right, just checking off the final score here, Ted Henry's.
Yes, Phil, Port Melbourne 27-14, 176 to Dandenong 18-10, 118.
And there we had all the scores coming through quarter by quarter. So now, until next Sunday...
This is Bill Jacobs.
Ted Henry's.
Rob Asprey.
Without a Rob.
Ian Gibbs.
And Philip Gibbs wishing you all a very good afternoon.
Oh.